Cafe, where we talk about all things anime, manga, pop culture, and whatever other random stuff comes to mind. I'm your host, Amity, and with me today, as always, is my co-host, Angus.
Hello, hello. Okay, I'm actually pretty excited for this one. Even though there's no new Kagurabachi chapter,
Yeah,
or
very sad. Very, 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 very sad.
yes, but we have some other stuff to get to, including some rewrite stuff, but that will wait. I'm gonna go on a bit of a rant right now, if that's all right with you, Amity.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't really have much to talk about, so I may just let you do the whole yapping for this episode. And
Yes.
I'll still talk about this episode, but I don't really have that much to talk about because I haven't seen anything super new, and plus, no new Kagurabachi chapter left a big huge hole in my heart, and I'm
Yeah.
very sad, very sad. It's like it's like an overdose, as Alons would put it when Kagurabachi was on hiatus.
Oh, withdrawal, not overdose, withdrawal.
Yeah, yeah, withdrawal. Sorry, I misspoke. I keep getting those confused.
It's okay. Happens to
Yeah.
the best of us. Okay. So, yeah, we did. Okay. I think we actually forgot to discuss the last Gachi Yakuda chapter last week. So we can start with that, and you can even talk about that as well. So we did forget that.
Yeah. Yeah, we did forgot
So
about Gachi Okuda.
yes,
The
that
there
was
was
chapter 173.
that was the one where Bondus came back, right?
Yeah, so Rudo forgot something, and he needs to go back to that car parking lot, underground parking lot for like the festival. 'Cause he forgot something there. What did he forget? We find out in the chapter it was the amulet that what's his face? The guy that was making the previous the neck bands for communication, the communicator thingies. Uh,
Uh,
his his tool, his oh God, I'm gonna sound like
I think
such
his
a
name was
harper.
Griff. I think his name is Griff.
Griff? Was that
I
it?
think his name was. I think his name was
Hang on,
Griff.
I gotta look it up now. I'm such a larper. I haven't had Kachi Okuda on the while. No, I'm misspeaking. I haven't had Gachi Okuda on my mind in a while. I've been doing other stuff, so this is kind of spur of the moment. Like, oh yeah, we forgot Gachi Okuda. I'll bring it up. Maybe that was a bad idea. Whatever. Um, Raiders, no, he's not a Raider. Hellguard, no. Members, no. Uh,
Take your time.
Gown, Gountist Lock? Wait, no. Let me actually go to Lily. Yeah, okay, the choker maker, Countess Knock. That was his name, Countess Lock. Um,
Oh,
yes. Now, so what was I saying with it? Yeah. So he had the Watchmen series of the necklace, the thingy, the necklace thingy. And that was really cool. But Rudo forgot it, so he goes back, but someone's there. It's not where he thought he left it, because someone took it from him, or someone took it because not from him, because it wasn't technically, it didn't belong to him. He left it there, uh, and it was none other than Bundis Bel Begelket. Begelkeet? I don't know how to say his name. I'm such a larper. But Bundis. Um, so he's there and he's like forgets something and he hangs it, and it's a very auraful moment. Tons of aura. We love to see it. Yes. Um, it was a very short chapter, like tiny, only 8 pages, but like, you get a lot done in 8 pages. So we might see a fight between them. We might see some kind of negotiation. Who knows? Uh, very exciting stuff.
I'm
And that was
actually pretty
after,
looking forward. Am pretty looking forward to like the future of Gachi right now. I really do think that Kei Arana is taking the story very well. Which after this chapter, not gonna lie, I'm more interested than ever. But
yeah,
we've been 2 weeks without no chapter, so I think we're on another huge break or
yeah,
something. I don't know, but hey, we're here letting Irana take her time because I
yes.
know something good is gonna happen.
Yeah, very important for mangaka to take breaks. We do prioritize their health over here on Nina's Cafe. So they can
Yeah.
take as many breaks as they need. It's fine with us.
Otherwise, you're
But yeah,
gonna enter the same situation that both Gege and Kubo have experienced during the end of both JJK and Bleach,
which
where they
is
got really
burnout.
yeah, which is where they got very sick and led to both endings being rushed.
Yeah. So we don't want to see that for Giorana. Um Gotcha Kudo, we want to be very long and fruitful. And it's looking like it's gonna be that way, which is very good. Um we love to see it. Do 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 do. Yeah, oh yeah, and this was after the very long interrogation, which was like, when did that start? In chapter 170? I don't know. Very long interrogation for Rudo, but he was complicit. And it was interesting. We got a lot of very deep lore about the gods and such, and yeah. But okay. I think that's kind of it for now for that. Um
Yeah,
I had something else in mind, which was a random topic. Did you see Jenna Ortega?
Jenna Ortega.
No, yeah.
Um, I don't think I have. Who is her?
She's an actress. I Yeah, she's an actress. Yeah, she is. And what happened to her though is not good. Here, I'll send you a picture. Um,
All right, let me
she
see
might
real quick.
she might also be a singer, but I'm pretty sure she's just an actress. Oh, she played Wednesday in that the Addams remake TV series, Wednesday Addams.
Oh, so you're
Yeah.
talking about the Wednesday show?
Yes.
Oh, that show that got
Uh,
really. Oh, yeah. I know Jenna Ortega. I know mostly from that actress is herself because that show was really popular. I never seen it though, but I know that show was really popular. All right.
so I sent it to you, DM'd it to you. Um, yeah, she's not looking too good, which is really sad to see. It's kind of like the Ariana Grande situation where she has that what's it called? Heroin chic look.
Oh
She's not
boy, I can
good.
see her bone. I can kind of see her bones a little bit.
Yeah, you can see her collarbones. Yeah, um, which is yeah, it's really not good.
Damn,
This
damn.
is
I'm
this is. Go ahead.
I'm really hoping that I'm really hoping that she's okay. Like this, damn. This kind of show you how the entertainment industry really treats their actresses and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, well, the actresses and the singers too, especially. Um, really not good stuff. I hope she gets better. I hope she GLP-1 weight loss medications have transformed obesity treatment and become increasingly accessible. Uh, Oh, so she's taking medication. She was never overweight though. She was always like healthy weight from what I could tell. So I don't know why she got put on weight loss. I don't know why she got put on weight loss medication anyways. She was never obese. She was always very thin. Yeah, very weird. Um, I hope she gets off that stupid drug and puts more weight back on. Not a ton. Obviously, I don't want her to like get obese. Just like back to a healthy weight is what I mean. Um,
Yeah, damn.
but yeah, that was
Oh,
kind of I think over a week old news now. Sorry, we're just getting to that now. Um, now, I did have another random quick. It should be somewhat fairly quick random topic, but this is something, Amity, you brought up to me on call, not on stream, but on call, a few weeks ago, I want to say. Um, so sorry to put you on the spot here, but you mentioned to me that you don't like mac and cheese. So why is that? I want
yeah.
to hear the story.
I do not like mac and cheese at all. I'm a huge mac and cheese hater. Um, it's because I really do not like the texture at all. It's a texture thing. It just feels so weird eating it, and I
Interesting.
really don't. I just do not like the whole mushy and like slimy texture while eating it. Like, ugh. And I also really
Hmm.
don't like the cheese flavor that much either. I mean, I do like some cheese on stuff like obviously I do like pizza and I do like some cheese puffs and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I do like it. I do like lasagna a lot too. But mac and
Yes.
cheese I can do without because like with mac and cheese it's very melted cheese and
Gooey.
it's like it makes it all very gooey and stuff like that and it just
Yeah.
it doesn't feel right and as a kid, I've always hated mac and cheese.
Yeah. Really? Interesting. So I'm the complete opposite. I'm a huge mac and cheese lover. The creamier, the better. The cheesier, the better. I love that stuff. However, for you, have you ever tried baked mac and cheese?
I have tried it once,
Yeah.
but that was a long time ago.
What did you think?
I actually think I remember liking baked mac and cheese a lot better, but then again,
Yeah.
it felt like it felt more like it was a lasagna, more not
Well,
mac and cheese.
I mean, I guess it depends sort of on the type you get because when I tried baked mac and cheese, I think once, and it was like a pre-made thing. You just put it in like the toaster oven and uh, bake it for, I don't know, like 15, 20 minutes, something like that. And it's dry because the cheese sauce is a lot thinner, and then the one I had, it had like little bits of jalapeno in there, which was really nice, and like a crumb topping, which was also good, and it helped to dry it out. So I think you would like that a lot more than like regular. But I love mac and cheese. I love it in all its different forms. You know, creamy, baked, even like the Kraft boxed mac and cheese stuff. I love that stuff. So good.
All right.
Yeah. Also for me, I don't know. I think I have like a bit of a sensitive throat, which might sound kind of weird to say on on live stream, but you know, or not live stream, but on a podcast. But like, yeah, so for me, mac and cheese is very easy. This is gonna sound so weird. Mac and cheese is very easy to swallow, because of the creamy texture. And I tend to like overcook the noodles a little bit, or not the noodles, the pasta a little bit, which makes it also easier to swallow. I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, but like it's true.
For
And I do like
me,
the flavor, so
For me, I really don't like that. I don't like it when I don't like that texture. It feels way too weird in my mouth. I do not. It feels like I'm eating slime. That's what it feels like. It feels like I'm eating some slime.
I feel like I might. I feel like if the slime is edible, I might like eating slime. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I've never tried slime before, but like if it's edible, I might try
Or
it.
actually, no, it feels like actually, you know what mac and cheese feels like, in my opinion, it also feels why I don't really like it. Have you ever got like a cold and you got like mucus
Phlegm,
stuck in like your like yeah phlegm and you got mucus
phlegm.
stuck in
Yeah.
your you got stuck in your throat, and then when you cough it up, it goes in your like mouth, and it's like really like slimy, and it's like very all gross and stuff like that.
I have had that once. I even sometimes if I eat too much and like too quickly, I'll sometimes get like mucus like that. But like I usually just cough it up and then like re-swallow it and then I'm good. Which
Yeah,
is
it
I
feels
know it's
like
so weird, but
it
you
feels
know
like that. When I eat mac and cheese, it feels like that. It feels like mucus. It feels like I'm eating
yeah,
just a full bowl of mucus.
that's yeah. I don't know. I do also like crunchy stuff too. Like I love chips. I love Cheez-Its and like Ritz crackers and stuff like that. And oh what's that what's that cracker brand? Oh God, I'm
Hmm.
forgetting now. Well I think they're wheat thins is another good one. Wheat thins. Uh
Wheat thins are pretty good. I haven't had them in a while though.
yeah, same. Oh and like Chex Mix, if you ever had that, I like that too.
Do you like
Sun
Cheetos?
Chips. I love Cheetos. I'm a huge I like the crunchy ones and Cheeto Puffs. They're so good.
Oh,
Yeah.
I just bought I just went to the store and had some Cheetos Puffs a few minutes ago. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, on my birthday, my grandma got a bag of I think they were like jalapeno Cheetos. So good. They were so addictive. I literally couldn't stop eating them. I had the whole bag in like in like within the span of like an hour. It wasn't a full size bag, it was like a mini bag, but still they were so addictive, so good. I love Cheetos, man.
One
Um
type of chip that I was addicted to a lot were like the kettle cooked chips.
yeah. Oh yeah, Miss Vicky's. Bro, Miss Vicky's goes so hard. Oh,
Not just
they
that, but
go.
there's also Cape Cod. If you remember that chip brand, Cape Cod
I'm
chips were
not
pretty good.
I'm not sure if I've tried Cape Cod. I might have. Actually, I think I might have. But yeah, Miss Vicky's though, like there's like the salt and vinegar one, the jalapeno cheddar. I love jalapeno cheddar. I don't know if you could tell. And like the salt and pepper. Uh, and then I think there was one that was like a Parmesan uh truffle. That was also good.
You know what's weird?
That might have been Cape Cod.
Normally I'm not the biggest spicy fan, but usually for the kettle cooked chips, the jalapeno flavor was the best flavor.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I'm not. I'm also like my dad and my brother are much bigger fans of like spicy foods. They like to spice it up. I like spicy food too, but not as much as them. But I still do love it.
I
But
do
yeah, the
like
jalapeno.
uh, I do like spicy foods. However, I'm not like super crazy about it. I am not the one that
Yeah,
puts hot sauce into everything I eat. However, I
yeah,
do like it when I have some like semi foods having a little kick to it. Like I do enjoy I do enjoy chicken wings, and I like them a little bit spicy, not too spicy, but I like my chicken wings a little bit on the more spicier side than because if you eat chicken wings that are not spicy, it tastes pretty bland.
yeah, yeah. Chicken wings for sure. Even if it's barbecue, you still you go for the jalapeno ranch with the barbecue. You know, that's the meta.
Yep.
But yeah, but mainly like the buffalo. I do really like buffalo chicken wings. So good. Wait, what do you think of blue cheese? Like blue
I don't
cheese dressing?
really. Oh, I don't really like blue cheese dressing.
Really interesting. I mean, a lot of people don't like blue cheese. When I was young, I kind of hated it too. But like I tried it once on its own and maybe with crackers and I hated it. But like I think at like 18 years old, for some reason. I I had some I think it was 18 or 19. I tried some blue cheese on like I think it was on like crusty French bread, and it clicked for me. I don't know. I don't know. Somehow it just clicked for me.
Do you want to
Um,
know a kind of food that I like, but yet everyone tells me is disgusting?
sure, go ahead.
Oatmeal raisin cookies.
Oh, I love those. Those are so good. They're so
I
underrated.
I love oatmeal raisin cookies. They're so good. They're literally my favorite kind of cookie. Like they're a cookie that I'll
Yeah.
eat. They're the kind of cookie that I'll eat with a glass of milk all the time. I do not know why people hate them. Like
You know, yeah, I agree. Because like they're not as sweet as other kinds of cookies, but they're more complex. They have like that nutty flavor. You know what I mean? Uh, so good. I love oatmeal raisin cookies
it,
too.
and I'm the kind of person that doesn't like my food too extra sweet. That's why I'm not like the biggest sweets guy. But oatmeal raisin cookies, they're just right for me.
I am
They're perfect.
Oh yeah. I am
They're like
a huge sweets fan. I love chocolate and candy, and like Nutella and stuff and stuff like that. And I do love fruit too. Like I love bananas and oranges and apples and stuff. But yeah, oatmeal raisin cookies so underrated. They're so good. Yeah. I'm surprised we like that. That's so good.
not only that, but candy corn I feel like is so overhated as well. I love candy corn. Like
That's one I don't like as well. I haven't had candy corn in a while. I might change my mind if I have it. Okay.
it's literally like my favorite snack I have for Halloween. I love candy corn.
Yeah, well, that's a very controversial take. By some people's likenings.
I mean,
Um,
candy corn is a candy that pretty much is not for everyone. I do see a lot of people say that they don't like candy corn. Like you have one side that really likes candy corn and another side that really doesn't like candy corn.
yeah. Yeah, it's very how would you call it? Partisan. Candy corn is very partisan. Not literally partisan, but like, you know what I mean. Very one You either love it or you hate it, you know?
Yeah, it's basically candy. That's what candy corn is. You either love them or you hate them. That's how it is. It's like how it's again like oatmeal raisin cookies. You either love them or you hate them.
Yeah, but they're way overhated and way underloved.
Just yeah, I really do not get why people hate on oatmeal raisin cookies. It like here's the thing. Here's a hot take. I think oatmeal raisin cookies are the most underrated cookie. The most overrated cookie is chocolate chip. And don't get me wrong, I like chocolate chip
Mhm.
cookies, but like they're kind of overrated.
Huh. Oh wait, what do you think of like have you ever tried white chocolate macadamia nut?
I think I have once when cuz I think Subway has one of them.
Yeah,
I think
oh
those
yeah.
ones
So
I
good.
think they're all right. I think those kind of cookies are all right.
Yeah,
And again,
I really like
I'm not really a macadamia nut person or even a white
oh,
chocolate person, but I do think that those
fair.
cookies are okay.
Yeah, I that's fair. I remember one time years ago, somehow I think either my mom or my dad got um like a bag, like a large bag of macadamia nuts for cheap somehow. Uh, Even though I don't know if you know this, but macadamia nuts are typically very expensive, but like when we got them for cheap somehow, and they're good. Um, but yeah, macadamia nut cookies, something about them, they just hit different. Um, but yeah, um, we ended up having the food rant. I think you all wanted to go on a food rant at some point. We probably will go on a food rant some other day, but like we ended up doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's good.
I did kind of want to talk about food on this podcast and we got a chance to talk about that.
Yeah. Yippers. Um, okay, I had Okay, yeah. I had two more topics before rewrite. So I went to see Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, Amity, you haven't seen it, right? Is that correct?
Not yet. Not yet. I still have yet to see it. I might see it though, but
Um,
I don't get paid until Friday, so
yeah.
um and the movie theaters in my area are pretty expensive, so yeah, I'm gonna have to wait a while before I have to see that movie.
Now,
I do want to see it. I do really want to see it.
okay. So in that case, what I'll recommend you do is deafen. And then I will tell you when I'm done talking about it. Does that sound good? Like I'll DM you and be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I'm done talking about Spider-Man."
Yeah, I will.
Okay. All right. Make sure you deafen and not mute because if you mute, you can still hear me.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to. If you're okay with spoilers, like you don't
I'm
have to.
fine with spoilers. I don't okay,
Okay.
I'm a person that doesn't really mind spoilers that much.
Okay. Well, then you can leave yourself unmuted, undeafened. Then I'll get straight into it. Okay. So I went to see Brand New Day with my mom, and that was an interesting experience. Um, so yes, I do have a pretty good relationship with my mom. Sometimes I don't pick up the phone every time she calls, but sometimes you just don't talk to her. I'm not gonna lie, but sometimes they do pick it up right away. Um, but yeah, that time I did, and we went to see it, and yeah, um, I got, I didn't end up getting movie theater popcorn right away. Um, so I got like, I wanted to get other theater food, but they kind of ran low on some of the stuff I wanted, so I got two hot dogs, without any toppings, but they were good. And then like a large Coke, Coca-Cola, and a bag of Mars, like the Mars cubes, Mars bar cubes. And I think I might be allergic. I'm not allergic to anything as far as I know. I haven't gotten tested, but like I think I might be allergic to some sort of sweetener because when I was eating the Mars bars, like I would swallow and there would be like a kind of spicy burn, like not spicy, but like a burn at the back of my throat. Um, like they have like a burning aftertaste, which was weird, but it's not at the like whenever I'm chewing, I don't feel it, but after I swallow, I get it, and it's weird. So I don't know. There might be some sweetener I'm allergic to, but that's neither here nor
Uh,
there. So before the movie began, though, um, there was an ad. There's, of course, everyone knows movie theater ads, but
yep,
there was an
yep.
ad for, yeah. There's an ad for a movie that's coming out soon called The Thomas Crown Affair. And I seen the ad before on YouTube, and it looks really cool. Have you seen this movie ad?
I have not actually.
It's really cool looking. I recommend you look it up. Uh, I'll like DM you just in case you forget.
Yeah, 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 you have to DM me for that, so I can
Yeah,
actually try looking at that movie.
really.
However, there was this one movie ad that I saw when I went to go see Obsession that I
Yeah.
wanted to see, but unfortunately haven't yet, called The Furious. That one looks pretty badass. I really want to go watch. I really want to see that one.
Yeah. Now, so the interesting thing is, so I saw this trailer months and months and months ago, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Michael B. Jordan, he's sick. He's a cool actor. I think he's also directing, like he's co-directing or co-producing the movie, maybe both. And of course, he stars as the titular Thomas Crown. Um, and it looks really cool and stuff. But then when we saw it in theaters, the ad, she was like, that's a really old movie. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, it's like super old. And I was like, wait, before you were born? And she was like, maybe. And I was like, wow. So I had no idea about this, but the new Thomas Crown Affair movie is actually a remake. Now here's where the plot thinking thickens. So I looked it up, and it turns out here I will read what I even said here. I looked it up because I got curious, and so there was actually a 1999 remake of the Thomas Crown Affair. The original came out in 1968, which I think is the year, 1 year or 2 years after my mom was born. Sorry to like carbon date her. Um, so originally, there were plans to make a sequel to the 1999 film, so the Thomas Crown Affair 2, featuring Pierce Brosnan and Angelina Jolie, but it got canceled. The new one was born from the ashes of that canceled sequel film. So that was really interesting when I looked that up. I was just like, whoa, mind blown, honestly. Which I know is kind of weird for something to be that interesting and compelling to someone, but like, I'm not sure if I've heard of something else happening like that. Aside from maybe, I know there was the Superman film. There was like a canceled Superman film starring God, what's that actor's name? Uh
I literally forgot. I literally forgot some actor. I'm not the best when it comes to actors and celebrities. Just so you know, I don't keep up with that kind of stuff.
oh my God, someone will know. Someone in the comments right now is screaming at their screen like it's this guy. Um, I'm looking it up right now. Canceled Superman movie. Superman Lives, which was a late 1990s project that was direct. It was going to be directed by Tim Burton and starring Nicolas Cage. So that's who it was. It was Nicolas Cage. Um, I think that maybe led into Superman 2013. But I or Man of Steel rather, Man of Steel, but I doubt it. So yeah, I don't think anything like the Thomas Crown Affair has happened where like a movie comes out in the 60s, you get a remake in the 90s, a planned sequel that gets canceled, and now here we are in big 2026 and it's getting a third remake or a second remake. I guess a third
I
kind of.
think the closest one that has been doing this was probably I don't want to shoot myself in the foot here. I guess probably Dune, because there was
Dune.
a because there was a Dune film adaptation created by David Lynch, which I think released around in the 70s or 80s or 60s. I'm not sure, and I think it was like originally planned to adapt all the books,
Yeah.
but of course that was impossible because at the time they didn't have enough technology to adapt most of Dune. That was
Yeah.
until 2021 where we got the trilogy that most people are familiar with when it comes to the Dune films.
Well, the first part, Dune 1.
Yeah, Dune 1.
We didn't get the trilogy all at once. We got part 1, yeah.
Because we
I
got
still haven't
third.
seen Dune. I still haven't seen Obsession either. I've been watching. I've kind of been getting caught up on Marvel. Because yeah, I saw Brand New Day, and well, previously to this, I did start like a bit of a binge, like a few months ago on Marvel, like rewatching some movies and watching some for the first time. Uh, but I think it's time I get into Brand New Day. So the movie starts with, of course, Tom Holland being like, "Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the movie. We worked really hard. It's really fun, action-packed, Spider-Man adventuring." And I was just like, "God, way to ruin the immersion with your British accent, your Tom Holland. Whatever, it's fine." So the movie, that might not be on like the Blu-ray or like the streaming release, so you might be safe. Uh, but yeah, so the movie starts with Peter Parker, Tom Holland, Spider-Man, solving crimes. Like a bunch of crimes back to back. We got like a montage. He defeats the Hand. And It's really cool. We see him like flying in the air and stuff with and webbing everyone up and doing all kinds of Spider-Man-y things, and it's really cool. And he's talking to this woman named DeWolf, and I think she's the police commissioner. Uh, she's with the police. I'm not sure if she's the commissioner or not, but I think she is. Um, and so she's like the woman on the inside, so to speak. She's his connect to like keep them like off his back, so to speak. Because Spider-Man, of course, he operates in sort of like a legal gray zone where he's a vigilante, but he helps solve crimes and helps catch criminals, which is very helpful to the New York Police Department, NYPD. And so yeah, that's all happening. And throughout the film, he's having like pain in his wrists and he's squeezing them. And I'm sure you can probably guess where that's going, but I won't get into that right now. And so yeah, this is after the spoilers, the death of Aunt May. Um and so we see him he goes to this I think it's like a bodega shop where he picks up flowers and he brings them to her gravestone and he places them on the in the jar. No, what's it called? Where you put a bouquet of flowers? The vase. Vase vase. Um, and he puts that by her grave like once a day. I from what I can tell, it's like once a day. And he like kisses his hands and taps the headstone, and it's a very touching moment. And yeah, but he sees his good buddy Ted. Is that it? No, Ned. Oh my God, I'm Larper.
Ned. Yeah, Ned.
Uh, yeah, Ned. He goes to pick up. There's like this funny scene where like he goes to buy some beer, like kegs, like the mini kegs, and he's like he wants the shark. I think it's like shark lava energy drink or whatever, and it's like a 5 hour. It's like a super dosed 5 hour energy drink, like 5 hour on crack cocaine. Um, and he's like, no, that stuff will kill you. Do not sell it to me. This guy, look at my face, and he does like he poses his face, and he's like, do not sell it to this guy. And then he's like, well, maybe I'll take one. And then and then the clerk is like, okay, and she puts it down on the counter, and then he's like, yeah, okay, maybe one more. It's like, it's the funniest shit ever. So, Peter watches this all happen, because he's in the shop. And then he tags him, and he follows him to the party, and the party is happening at Mary Jane's place, and she has spoilers, she has a boyfriend, and the experience of like he goes in there, he sees Ned's room, and there's like all these Spider-Man pictures on the wall, and he's doing like Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia with his conspiracy board.
Yeah,
Ned kind of has that.
I do.
Yeah,
I think I've seen parts of Sunny is always it's always sunny in Philadelphia, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, so Ned kind of has that with Spider-Man because Spider-Man's like saved his life and MJ's life a number of times, and he's trying to figure out who it is, who the Spider-Man guy is. And he's like, I'm not weird or anything. It's like, okay, sure, buddy. And then he like flips up like a clipboard type thing with who he thinks he's narrowed it down to two guys. And one of the guys, I forget who they are, but like one of them made like the theater I was in laugh. And there weren't too many people I was watching it with, but there was like a couple families and they all laughed and I didn't know why because I didn't recognize who that was, but yeah. Um and I forget his name too. But yeah, so then he walks out into like the where the main part of the party is happening in like the living room slash kitchen area, open concept. Uh, and he sees MJ there, and she's like hanging out with Ned, and then her boyfriend comes in and kisses her, and this is like the last straw. And he's been drinking too, like not a ton, but he's had a few sips of whatever was in those red silo cups, booze of some kind, at least. So the stress was getting to him, and he just had to leave. And so he leaves the building and then he swings away without his suit on. So it's just like Peter Parker swinging through the city. And there's like this scene where like it's raining out and it's dark, and he like swings up into the air and the camera zooms in on him, and like we see his face and he's absolutely devastated, and he starts falling backwards, and it's like it's framed like he's trying to kill himself, but obviously he doesn't kill himself. He gets back home, and we see in like the corner of his the door to his apartment, there's like a spider there. And I thought this was teasing that that would be how he gets the spoilers, the natural webbing. But no, he just wakes up outside of his room, like between in the alleyway, like above, hanging above, because like the natural webbing. Oh, there was actually, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. There was a little bit of setup that he was getting something weird was going on with his wrists earlier, because his web shooters, he tested them, and he was like, Evie, I want you to zero these in. They feel a little off. So that was hinting that maybe something was going on. There's some good foreshadowing in there. Um, but yeah, he wakes up in like a cocoon, spun from his own natural webbing that he didn't know he had. And like he's all freaked out and stuff. Uh, so he goes back inside and he's like, Evie, what the hell's going on? And it turns out the arachnid genes are elevated from all the stress, like the hormones that caused his a mutation in his uh, arachnid stuff. And so the arachnid genes are like elevated. And there's 2 meters. It's very video gamey. So like there's the human bar, which is in green, and it's like 3/4 of the way filled. And then there's the arachnid bar, which is 90% filled. So that's scary. He's like, holy shit, what's going on? Um, and so the next like third of the movie is spent like he goes tracks down Bruce Banner, who's of course the Hulk, and he finds him. He's teaching a lecture, and it's kind of played for laughs because he's of course a really good professor. Um, but like one of the students, there's one student that's like cosplaying as the Hulk, and another student who all she asks is questions about his experience being an Avenger. And but meanwhile he's teaching like particle physics or whatever, and he's like, yes, Tracy, what is it? If it's about the Avengers, I don't want to answer anything. Just let me teach. And she puts her hand down, and then she's like, or then he's like, okay, whatever, what is it? And then she asks her question about the Avengers or whatever, and he's like, yeah. Um, so then that scene eventually like the students all leave because class is dismissed, and then Peter walks up to him. He starts asking a few questions. He notices that Banner has a regulator machine on his wrist, and it's pretty big. It's pretty clunky, but it keeps the other guy in check, which is very helpful. And he's like, because you want to like me when I'm angry, and he's like, ah. Uh, and it's like teasing some stuff that may or may not happen later in the film. And then yeah, so he discusses with him about the regulator and how it works, and how if you made a few modifications, you could make a universal one. And Banner's like, no, that would be pretty unethical because then you could take down all the soups around the world, and I wouldn't want that. Um, so he's like, good luck, Peter, but I'm not gonna be helping you. And he sends him on his way, and then he's like, the library is that way because Peter was walking in the opposite direction. He faked being a graduate student at, I think it was like MIT or something that he was teaching. And he was like, it's very much like, okay, I guess this kid clearly isn't one of my students. Um, so yeah, and then he goes back home, and the place is an absolute mess. And there's this note. The movie begins with narration from Peter um about how it's a note that he wrote to MJ about how like you may not remember. This is in the trailers too. he's like this. You may not remember me, but my name is Peter Parker, but I am also Spider-Man. Blah 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 blah. And this note is very important to him, and he keeps it in a coffee cup. And the coffee cup is from the cafe or coffee shop that MJ was working at, and that's when he found her after uh the event that happened. Um, that made everyone forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Um, so he promised that he would track her down and find her, and he did. And he had the note in his pocket, but he wasn't ready to give it to her yet. And this was in the last movie, I think. And so he buys the coffee from her, and that coffee cup that he got, he kept with him all this time, and he put the note in it. Um, and so the note is of grave significance in this movie. And so um, then there's all the stuff with a company called Damage Control, which Tony Stark founded in Homecoming. Well, then it was known as the Department of Damage Control, which was like a cleanup department to clean up after the big messes caused from the superhero stuff. Because of course they make a mess of things as they're trying to save the day. Um, and now Control is run by this guy whose name I forget. I only watched this movie once, and I should watch it again. But anyways, so he goes to his company, he's asking about stuff, and he's not getting the kinds of answers he wants. So then he goes to Yelena, who's the best girl. Yelena's my absolute. She's the best. She's the GOAT. We love Yelena. And the scene I mean you've seen this scene before. Uh it's the scene, in our meme channel on the Discord server. Um, you know how there's that artwork of Peter Parker and Yelena in the bathtub, and Peter has it, or Peter, actually I say Peter Parker, but it's Spider-Man because he still has his mask on in the tub. And he has his feet up, and she's like, her boobs are bigger in the artwork than they are in the actual movie. They
Oh,
kind of make some, yeah, you know that artwork. But that scene is it's actually so much aura from Yelena because like she's like this is her office is like this uh some semi-public bath or hot tub. It's a hot tub, and there's like change rooms inside the room and stuff in the apartment. And she's like, my office, my rules. And so the rule was you got to take your clothes off. And so he takes almost all his clothes off, but of course it's Marvel, it's Disney. They're not gonna have him take his boxers off, but like in a more grown-up movie he would have, but whatever, it's fine. But he keeps the mask on. Uh, and she's like, really? You're not gonna take the mask off? He's like, no, it's for my, anonymity. And she's like, whatever. So they get to discussing things with control and whatever. And then a new threat arises. There's someone appears to be actually this. I think the office meeting was because of this. There was at an earlier point in the movie, there was some someone was like taking possession, and like they tried to take possession of Peter's body, like infiltrating his mind. But he managed to resist it, which was really cool and badass, and power scaling wet dreams, I guess. Because mind hacks, he has mind hacks resistance. Let's go. So, but it's just in the movie, it's just framed as like he's goated for some reason. He's super special. But the scene we see, she gets in there for like a split second, and she sees the scene of and it's a recurring scene of Aunt May knocking on the door and walking into his bedroom and sitting down on the bed next to him. And it's about how like all this superhero stuff is super weird. And she's like, yeah, it's already getting, or one of them says, yeah, it's already gone pretty weird. And Aunt May had superpowers, so she's like, you think just because they have superpowers now that you don't have to listen to me? He's like, no, that's not what this is about. But then before the scene can continue, we get out. I gotta take a sip of water.
all right. All right.
Ah. Okay, that's better. Um, so she wasn't able to crack into his mind. Um, this mysterious body snatcher, or mind possessor, I think is probably the better way to put it. Because it's compared to possession. It's like they're like, yeah, it's more like possession. And then I think when he was talking to Yelena, she mentioned Baba Yaga, which is like this folklore legend about a creature of in the forest. I think that's like a witch or something that takes possession of people's minds to control their body, something like that. She's like, yeah, it seems similar to that. And so there's like this mystery building. Who is this person? When we see them, uh, they're they confront Spider-Man when he's like he was testing out the regulator because he ended up making a regulator that goes on the back of his neck, and the regulators for to control his mutation. And then this random black kid shows up and he's like, "Hey, Spider-Man, you're not looking too hot." And I was like, "Oh my God, it's Miles!" He's like, because he knows who Peter is. He knows that it's Peter. Uh, and he says his name. It's like, oh my God, it's Miles. But no, it wasn't Miles. It was just someone that the person took possession of. And he's like, you better get to Mary Jane before I do because I'm coming for her. And there's like a whole chase sequence. And uh, I should say though, like while he's talking to the black kid, um, he's like, Evie, what's going on in the office? Or like uh his apartment. Um, and that person has been skulking around in his apartment and looking at all the stuff he has, like, and she's like, it's a facsimile of what you think a 20 something would be living like. And she's like protein powder and weights and stuff, and like it's a big mess, and there's clothes on the floor. And oh, look at this coffee cup. What's inside? Oh, it's this note. How pathetic. You're such a loser. Why haven't you given this note to your girlfriend yet, you loser? Type shit, type shit. Uh, and then she's like, you better go to her because I'm coming for her, and believe me, I'm fast. And so there's this thing that they can do, which is like jump between bodies. They have a range. Um, but the range he met like Peter manages to figure out what it is thanks to Evie running calculations on like the last several jumps, and it's 33 feet. So he manages to get to like the body snatcher hops into someone's body that takes control of a helicopter, and they are flying around to try to escape Spider-Man. But he attaches on to the helicopter with a web, and he manages to bring him to a crane and webs him up in the crane. He's like, "You can't jump. There's no one here that's 33 feet close to you, so." I guess I got you. But then he goes to Mary Jane, and he's like, "You're in danger. You gotta come with me." And she's like, "I don't know who you are. What are you doing here?" And he's like, "Just trust me. You have to come with me. You're in danger." And she's like, "Fine, whatever." Because it's MJ. Uh, she's like a risk taker. So she goes with him, grabs onto him, and they swing through the city until they get onto like a rooftop, with a big sign on it. And she eventually manages to figure out that who Spider-Man is because like through deduction, and then she lifts up part of his mask and then kisses him, and then reveals the full identity, and they have a hug, and it's a very emotional scene, and then it's revealed that she's already been taken over, and it's like, oh shit. So this person basically kissed Peter with MJ's mouth, which is crazy. um, and then I mentioned the big sign on the rooftop. The sign is red, and as she's like taunting Peter, she's walking backwards, and the red light illuminates her, and it's in the middle of the night, so like it's just this red light on her, and it's like it's not creepy, but it certainly gives you like a intense vibe. There's a lot of tension from that lighting. And then she walks off the roof and jumps away, jumps out of MJ's body, and then MJ wakes up as herself, and he's like, "Oh shit!" And it's like a remake of that scene in TASM 2 where like Spider-Man has to save Gwen Stacy. Um, but if you haven't seen Spider-Man 2 or The Amazing Spider-Man 2, TASM 2, she dies.
I have
Spoilers.
seen that movie. I have seen that
Thank,
movie.
thank God. So it's teasing that.
I've seen pretty much every single Spider-Man movie except Brand New Day.
Yeah. So it's teasing that, oh God, she might die. Oh, Spider-Man, you gotta save her. And he does. But she's like, when he grabs her and brings her to the sidewalk, um, he's like, oh God, are you still alive? And then he checks her heart rate or if she's breathing, and he's like, oh, thank goodness she's still alive. And it's like, okay, thank God, and she's still alive. And then Matt Gargan, the Scorpion, shows up, and Spider-Man is just absolutely not having it. And he doesn't have his regulator on him. So the arachnid shit starts going through the roof, and when that happens, his eyes turn black, which is really kind of creepy and badass. So I'm gonna call that the full arachnid mode. And this happened earlier in the movie, and when it happens, his senses go into overdrive, and Evie's like, "Your senses are in overdrive," and he's like, "I know, Evie, I know." Um, and there's like a an empty chip bag that rolls across the rooftop, and that sound, to him, it sounds like an earthquake going off or something. Like everything, the birds chirping, the sirens, or like the horns on the cars, and like the traffic and everything. All these sounds around him from New York fucking City, which is one of the loudest cities on earth. The city that never sleeps, of course. He can hear everything, and it's causing him to like go into like almost a panic because his senses are in overdrive. Um, so that kind of happens here, but he sort of adapts to it and uses it to help fight Scorpion. And he goes full on psycho on his ass. Like at first he tries to fight him the normal way, as you know, Spider-Man does. But then again, like he was pressing him. Oh, he's like, "You think I'm Matt Gargan? Nah, son." Because it's the body hopper, um, the mystery man. Uh, and so they pin him against a wall or a car or something, trying to and like the scorpion tail, the end of it, the stinger can retract, but it goes out, and the stinger is right up to his chin. It's like, oh God, he's got to lock in, or he's gonna die. And then the arachnid shit, and like it's like do, 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 and then it goes to a breaking point, and then he finally locks in, and he starts whooping Scorpion's ass a little bit too hard. It's like, this isn't Spider-Man. What's happening? That's not him. That's like the audience. Uh, and then he like kicks his ass. He throws him into he webs him up and slings him into a police car and nearly kills a police officer. It's like, this isn't Spider-Man. And then he like destroys his tail and throws him against a wall or car, and then webs him up, and he's stuck there. And then the body hopper leaves. I think they laugh first. They're like, "Ha ha ha, you're a freak," and taunt him or whatever, and then leave. And then Matt Gargan wakes up. He's like, "What the hell happened? Spider-Man?" And he's like, oh shit. Or no, he's still in like the full arachnid mode, and he's freaking out. He's like, what the fuck did you do with Mary Jane? Stuff like that. Um, and then the other police officers show up, and he's finally chilled out. He's like, oh shit, I'm so sorry. That was my bad. Are they okay? Are they all good? Did I hurt them? And DeWolf's like, dude, you gotta work this shit out. Because I can't, if this happens again, I can't protect you. The police officer did manage to survive, though. Yeah, there's a chase scene somewhere in the movie where they took control of a tank, and they keep trying to get into um the damage control headquarters, and they finally decide, you know what, fuck it. So they're in a getaway car and they're making their way there. The person behind all the body hopping, they have a driver who they're controlling. Uh, and they make their way there, and along the way they picked up the Hulk. They picked up Bruce Banner, took control of Puny Banner, and transformed him into Smart Hulk. I got Nerd Hulk, whatever. It's not the full Hulk though. It's like the partial Hulk. And they're using the Hulk. Well, by this point we see that it's a girl. So I'll she her knows that. So we see that she's taking control of Hulk and is trying to break in. And oh yeah, there's like a scene where he brings MJ to Punisher because him and Punisher are having a back and forth throughout the movie. And he brings MJ to Punisher's Frank Castle's secret lair. And there's all kinds of booby traps, and he needs to save her life from these booby traps because he's very cautious man. He's like, you bring her to my house, and they get into an argument, and it's like this fun back and forth. He's like, dude, just I need you to protect her. Can you please do me a favor? And he keeps bringing up that there was like the Staten Island incident where he saved his life. And he's like, you're gonna bring that shit up again? And then they get into an argument about what happened on that day, and it's all played for laughs and stuff. And then he's like, yeah, fine, whatever, bring her in. Just make sure you don't set off any of the landmines, or we'll be picking her up for the next 2 weeks. It's a good line. So they go inside and he's like, I made some chili. You can have some. And then she looks through like the cupboard and sees his family's, and she's like, MJ's like, is this your family? Like, I have one rule in the house. Don't touch my stuff. Don't look at me the wrong way, and don't eat or drink anything I'll tell you not to, or whatever it is. I forget what they are. He says he only has one rule, but and then MJ's like, but that was three rules, and he's like, I like this girl. And I need to take another sip of water.
You're really passionate about this film.
It's really good. There's a lot happens. Um, so anyways, stuff's happening. He, I think he, no, he tries to, oh yeah. He's like remodeling his regulator and trying to make a universal one, and it's not working too well because he doesn't know how to properly format the what's it called, the electronics on it. And MJ's like, well, before I transferred to astronomy, I was in biochemistry or whatever she says. And she's like, you want me to help? And he's like, yeah, sure, I guess, give it a try. But he has to put the mask back on. Um, and there's like this whole back and forth they have, which is super cute. And she's like the man behind the veil, whatever, trying to work on his stuff. Um, and so they work on it together throughout the night. And then he's at the in the kitchen the next morning, still on the computer, still trying to figure stuff out. And Frank walks in, he's like, "You still got your mask on even in front of me?" And he's like, "Yeah, bro, I'm trying to protect my identity here." Um, and he's like, "Whatever, I got you. I'll make some coffee for you if you want." He's like, "Yeah, I'll take some." So they have coffee, and then he leaves, and eventually he meets up with Ned at Ned's house. And MJ's there with him because, well, MJ brought him. Wait, no. That happens at some stuff happens, and then like he needs to leave to do something. And while he's gone, MJ finds the note because he brought the note with him like an idiot. And she read the note and she's like, I don't know who you are. I don't know who you think I am, but I do not love you. I don't remember anything from what we had. I'm sure this person you loved you very much, but I do not love you. And it's a very emotional scene. And she's like, I'm gonna leave. So she walks out the front door, and then she's like, shit. And then she walks back in, and she's like, can you take me home? And he's like, yeah, sure. Oh yeah. And during the scene, she's like, I don't want to talk to Spider-Man. I want to talk to Peter Parker because I think I deserve at least that much. So he reveals his identity to her, and then that the whole rest of the scene happens, and then she leaves and then comes back. She's like, "Can you take me home?" And he's like, "Yeah." So he grabs his mask, puts it back on, takes her back home, and then she's like, "Do you want to come up with me?" And he's like, "Sure." And then he meets Ned, and it's the apartment from before. So he goes I think it's the apartment from before, although I don't know, it looks different in daytime compared to light. And so he goes into his room. It's a bigger room. And he has the same like Spider-Man pictures on the wall, and he oh yeah, he built this Spider-Man tracking app for Spider-Man sightings, and somehow it can track his precise location. And he's like, "MJ, you're never gonna believe this, but Spider-Man is right in front of us." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm right here." And he's like, "Whoa!" And he drops his tablet. He's like, "Whoa, Spider-Man!" And then and then they see the stuff on his wall. And he's like, I'm not weird or anything." And he's like, "Yeah, totally, bro. It's all good." Um, and then they end up building a Lego set together. I don't think it's a Death Star, it's something. Um, and while they're doing that, they're like, he's like, "You can ask me any questions you want," and he's like, he asks him, "So when you're, so when you're swinging around the city and you have to go pee, do you just find a building and go take a leak off the roof?" And he's like, "What?" Eh, Oh, damn it! Oh, it's such a good scene. I'm sorry I spoiled that scene. Oh, damn it.
Oh my
Yeah, it's
god.
really
Now
funny.
I have to see this movie. I gotta see it now.
Yes, yes. Okay, I'm not gonna spoil the rest of that scene. It's a really good scene. It's so funny. It's the funniest shit ever. Um, and then okay, more stuff happened. Oh yeah, then he gets on call with Yelena and he's like, "So who do you manage to figure out?" Oh yeah. Oh no, I'm not gonna say that. Um. He's like, "Did you manage to figure out who that person is?" And it's revealed to be none other than Jean Grey. Oh shit, that is such a big spoiler. I should have spoiled that. Fuck. I
It's
didn't say
okay.
anything.
It's okay.
Did you already know?
I mean, no, not really.
Fuck.
But
Oh my
I'll block
God.
that. I'll block that out of my mind. Maybe I think maybe when I see the movie, the reveal is gonna. I feel like this reveal is probably gonna hit harder.
Okay, I'm actually gonna end the review there. I'm not gonna spoil anything else. Some stuff happens, blah 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 blah. Okay. I'm not gonna reveal anything else. I'm really sorry. I spoiled so much of that. But
It's okay. It's okay.
there's still a lot to see for you. Uh, you should, you know what? I have a suggestion. Drink a lot. Just start drinking a lot of booze. And then you'll forget everything. And I'm serious. You should start drinking. Like I don't normally recommend people drink. Um, but definitely tonight you should buy some, like a case of beers, maybe two, and get as drunk as you can to forget everything I told you.
All
Um,
right.
okay. And also don't check the recording. When the premiere goes up, you can't watch that either. Uh, I really want you to forget everything I just told you. Okay?
All right then. All right then. I did say I didn't mind getting spoiled, but
I just,
you went way more passionate about the film than I expected you to.
yeah. I spoiled you on just way too much. Yeah, I'm serious. You need to get as much alcohol as you can and forget everything. But you need to see this movie. It's so good, especially if you've seen every other Spider-Man movie. This one it connects a lot of the dots. It understands Spider-Man. Here's my spoiler-free review. I'm doing the Spider-Man spoiler-free review. It connects a lot of the dots. It understands Spider-Man the best. It includes a lot of really cool moments. It's really badass and aura farming. Yelena's amazing. We do love Yelena. Yes, we do. Yelena's the best. She's the goat. I did watch Thunderbolts. Actually, recently, last night, I watched Black Widow, which is where she's introduced. Yelena's awesome in that. I love Yelena. if you can't tell, I might have a slight, small, tiny little crush on Yelena, but who said that? Yeah, Yelena's the goat. As I was saying, okay, yeah, so, but yeah, definitely watch Brand New Day. Definitely forget everything I told you. Drink as much alcohol as you can to forget. Um, yeah. Do you have any booze at home right now?
No, I don't.
Okay, you definitely gotta buy some. Uh, I'm so dead ass. Like you need to forget everything I told you because it's so worth watching spoiler free. You might remember some stuff, but like I need you to forget as much as possible. But anyways, yeah, it's a great movie. I love it to death. It's awesome. Spider-Man's the GOAT. We do love Spider-Man.
You know
Yes, we
what's
do. And
funny?
yeah.
You know what's funny? I saw everyone saying this movie is great. However, YouTuber I like watching, I hate to throw him under the bus, and no offense to this guy, I do enjoy his videos. Anomaly Inc. I saw his post hating on this movie.
Well, with all due respect, that guy's a dumbass. This movie is awesome. With all due respect.
He called it Spider-Man Brand New Daycare.
Hey, he's larping out his ass. He's larping out his ass. It's really good. Um, yeah, it's so good. It's awesome. No, that guy's larping on his ass. Okay, I think it's time. I finally move on. I did before getting into more rewrite stuff. How long have we been going for, actually? Let's see.
Uh,
Over an hour already. Sweet. I thought we were gonna have nothing to talk about before rewrite stuff, but no, we've had plenty. I did want to get into one more thing, which was the last Bleach episode that came out. I'm a huge fan of Bleach. Bleach is my passion. I have Ichigo as my profile picture, because Ichigo is the GOAT. I should change it on my YouTube. But I love my YouTube profile picture too. Anyways, that being said, yeah, so Bleach is awesome. Ichigo's the GOAT. So, this episode, do you mind getting into spoilers about this episode, Core 4, Episode 4, titled the
um,
Perfect Prison?
I already read the Thousand Year Blood War, and I already saw reviews of it. I already saw Alan's video on it.
Okay, yeah. So, this episode featured Bankai Kenpachi, which was awesome. Uh, true or completed Daiguren Hyorin Toshiro Hitsugaya, and Byakuya was just aura farming, I guess. Uh, Byakuya is the goat, bro. Byakuya is the goat. And yeah, so this episode, well, it was an episode of television with a lot shorter, so I won't talk for as long. Um, so yeah, it features the Gerard fight, majority of the Gerard fight, which was really cool. There were some great moments. Kenpachi is insanely strong. His Bankai. Oh yeah, so there's this really interesting thing that happens where Yachiru shows up, and she shows up in like the forest area where they first met. And so a lot of people are speculating online that uh that is their inner world, which I agree it probably is their inner world. But I saw a YouTube short that was like made this recontextualizes when they first met. And I don't think when they first met that was their inner world. I think that was like just a part of the Rukon guy. It was the, if I'm not mistaken, it was part of the 79th Rukon guy. Because that's where Yachiru is from, Kusajishi, the 79th district of the Rukongai district, the 79th section, the 79th neighborhood, whatever they're called. I forget what they're called. The 79th part section of the Rukongai district. That it's like the forest area. That's where they first met. That seems to have imprinted on Kenpachi's um Zanpakuto, and so now that's become how his inner world looks like, which is really cool. That's in canon. It's well, okay. I think it's arguably it's the second inner world if it is a true inner world. Arguably, maybe the third if Kyoraku Shinsui's like shadow was also possibly an inner world, even though it was the shadow, but like it had inner world vibes. But Nana was there. but the Zanpakuto spirits were there and they were tangible, whatever. I don't know. I'm guessing his inner world probably is like a black empty abyss. It probably is the shadows. Maybe. I don't know. That's speculation. Nobody knows. So this is in canon, this is the second true inner world that we've seen. But if you count, okay, well, technically, I think the Zanpakuto Rebellion arc is considered canon now, and we did see Muramasa's inner world in that. So if you want to consider that canon, that would make this the third inner world that we've seen. But we haven't seen many. Ichigo's, of course, is the first. Muramasa's is arguably the second, if you count that as canon. Whatever. And I do like Muramasa's too, by the way, because it's like the pillars on like the lake, and then he manifested in whatever. But then yeah, this was possibly the third if it is an inner world. And it's the forest area. It's really cool, and that's how she activates his Bankai. She gives him the power of Bankai. Uh, and there's something happens that I won't spoil for you. When she reveals that it's the power of Bankai. But you might know. Hopefully, you haven't been spoiled on that crucial little detail. You need to watch. You need to watch Bleach, Amity. By
I
which
need
I
to
mean
watch a
get
lot.
caught up
I
in
need
it.
to watch everything. I need to watch everything.
That's true. So something happens there that's really cool that hints at certain details, such and such, whatever. But yeah, the Gerard fight happens and it's really cool. And then they think they defeated him. Oh yeah, there's the thing with the core. They Kenpachi like splits him in half, and then the core rises from his corpse, like the core being the Quincy cross, the five-pointed star. No, the five-pointed Quincy cross, the pentacle, I think it's called. Um, and then that forms, yeah, it's the pentacle. And then the blood coalesces around it and forms the heart, uh, the the heart of the Soul King, presumably. Uh, and then it reforms him, and then he kind of goes into, yeah, he goes into Volstandig. And then we have like a cool badass fight between Volstandig, Gerard, and Bankai Kenpachi, which is really cool. He tries to cut him, but he can't get through his Blutvena. Uh, and that's really cool. Blutvena has been used a lot more in the anime than in the manga. Like Blutvena keeps coming up, and it's really cool. Because it's almost like the anime remembered that Blutvena is a thing, and Kubo maybe sort of forgot a little, who knows type shit. A little bit. And so that's really cool. And then oh yeah, so then they team up together to try to. Oh, there's like a cool moment where like Gerard destroys a piece of or like a large chunk of the Varvelt that they're on this section, and it starts falling, and it has Momo who's healing Renji and Rukia, and so all three of them are trapped in there and they're falling. They're gonna follow Sirte, but Toshiro steps in and he freezes it and he connects it to the rest of that part of the Varvelt with his ice powers, which is really cool and awesome. And we love Toshiro. Toshiro is basically a hero, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that
he
was
is.
that was very heroic. So yeah. Um, Gotta refill my water now. That'll only take a second. I have water with me. Um, so he does that, really cool. Aura, badass power, awesome, sick. And then they attempt to. Oh yeah, so Toshiro, Gerard grabs Toshiro, and he starts freezing. He's like, "Did you really think you could grab me while in this state, and there wouldn't be any consequences? You fool," or whatever. I don't think he calls him a fool. He just kind of reforms. Um, and then so while he's still grabbing onto, I don't know if I I guess this you could use this for power scaling maybe, but I guess he only targeted that. So Byakuya uses Bankai, Senbon Zakura, Kageyoshi, Senkei. I forgot the name of it, but it's the final killing, I think is what it's called in English, or like final murder, murder's end, whatever. Uh, let me see if I can find it real quick. I'm sorry. I just want to make
It's all
sure I get
right.
the
It's all
name.
right. It's all
I want
right.
to make
I'm
sure I get.
terrible with name. I'm horrible with names, just so you know.
Yeah. Uh, I'm kind of bad with like technique names. I'm good with character names. Um, did you step out to grab the alcohol, by the way?
No, I did not.
You gotta, dude, I'm telling you, I
I
really need
might
you to
do it
do that
after. I might do it after the episode.
after the episode. Yeah, that works. You do need to do that though, because yeah. Anyways, wasting time, wasting time. Yes. Ika Senjika, is that it? Ika Senjika, 1 by 1,000 blade flowers. Byakuya launches and his foe the thousands of Senkei swords. Yeah. So it's Ika Senjika. Yeah. So Senkei means slaughterscape or in biz annihilate, and that's the move where it's the most defensive form Senbon Sakura Kageyoshi can take, where the millions of blades turn into the thousands of swords or whatever that encircle, kind of like a domain expansion. Um, and then, but so for this move, it's for Ika Senjika. Um, he aims all the blades at his target and sends them flying. And it's really cool and badass and auriful. So yes, we do love it. And he's frozen when he uses it on him. So they think they defeated him, but then he reforms as like essentially like a god of light. Now we need. Oh, actually, it's funny because we do see Shunsui and now, so it's kind of like, oh, if only they were here. I just now put that together. They do a close up of them, because he's essentially become kind of in the same way as what's his face? Lee Barrow. He's kind of become like a being made of light. So that's an interesting connection that I just made. Um, and then we see Rukia and Rukia and Renji, they're finally healed and they run up and they're like, "What the hell is that thing?" And then Toshiro's like, "That is what's become of the enemy you guys were fighting earlier." And they're like, "Who the hell are you?" And then Rukia's like, "Can't you tell?" And there's a beat, and it's like it's Toshiro's older brother. And then he's like, "Yep, that's me, Toshiro's older brother." And then Byakuya is like, "You're just gonna play along with him," and then he doesn't say anything about it, but yeah. So they did keep that funny scene, which I'm really glad they did because it's a really nice bit. There's so much tease. There's so much like back and forth between Byakuya and Toshiro, which is really fun. About just
It's always been fun. I really like that a lot.
Yeah. I wish we got to see more like Byakuya funny moments throughout this arc because like I feel like Byakuya there in the Omake sketches he does have a number of really fun goofy scenes in the old anime, but the new anime didn't bring back the Omake stuff, which is like the post credit scenes, and that really saddens me. But we do get a little bit of comedy here and there with the cast, and that's always good. Uh, so yeah, and then we got the scene where they're like, "We're gonna fight alongside you," and Byakuya is like, "No, you're not gonna fight alongside us." And then Gerard like reaches his hand, but Byakuya blocks it with Senbon Sakura, not with his own hand, of course. And he's like, Do you sense it? That's Ichigo's spiritual pressure. You guys gotta go to him. We'll take care of this guy." And they're like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "Yes. Now go." Uh, that's an order, I guess, whatever. So they do, and then he turns around and Toshiro's like, and he comments on how that was very wise or not wise, but very honorable of him or whatever, because he's like, "I don't know about you, but what I was taught in the academy was never to fight for your friends, or it was never to fight for your family, but your duty to protect your friends." So he kind of embodied that by sending them to go fight alongside Ichigo, which was really cool. So they start running, and then the episode ends. Sort of. We got the outro, but there's still like a third of it left. And then during that, so after the credits or after the ending scene, the ending song, um, we get Ichigo uh full what's it called? Horn of Salvation. I don't care about the quote unquote canon name. It will always and forever be Horn of Salvation to me, and basically all Bleach fans, as far as I know, we all call it Horn of Salvation. Uh, Fuck the canon name. What is it? Hybrid, hollow form, whatever bullshit, merged, hollow, whatever. Stupid name. I hate it. Horn of Salvation. We get a little bit of an extension between that. No. We get the rest of the scene. So in episode 3, he activates it, and that's kind of where the episode ends on that cliffhanger. Here, we actually get the conversation between Ichigo and Orihime and Yuabaha, where he's like, "Yeah, uh, I had this guy inside me, but I needed your Quincy Reatsu to awaken him." He's talking about White, of course. Um, and then we get this cool, badass Oracle moment where he essentially, in one step, he teleports in front of the Rika. And I think it's like when I say teleports, it's like essentially teleportation.
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
'Cause if so, or he was like, when did he get in front of the Rika? I think what he used was Sonito, but the shitty part about the this version of the anime TYBW, it's amazing, it's awesome, it's godly animation. We do love Thousand Year Blood War Bleach anime, but the one of the few points that I dislike about it is that it doesn't keep the old sound effects for the high speed movement techniques, and they were really iconic sound effects, and I wish they kept them because it would. I'm pretty sure because he just holofied, so holification Sonito, I think, but I don't know if he actually did use Sonito because they don't use the old sound effects. So I I'm just gonna say he did. Like in my head canon, he used Sonito. Um, because that would make the most sense for the scene. Um, but yeah, so he keeps talking to Yuhabaha now in front of the Rika. Um, and then he like says like this awesome badass line or whatever, and Yuhabaha is like how he like aura farms or whatever, and then we get the scene where he charges up the Getsuga, and he's like a Getsuga Tensho that can't possibly defeat me. But I didn't finish. He wasn't just charging up a Getsuga. Oh no, it's a Getsuga Tensho mixed with a Grand Rey Zero. So we get that scene, and it's super awesome and badass. And he launches it at him, and it's this cool crescent shape, and all the color. By the way, like the sound effects and the coloring and the animation of the Getsuga Grand Rey Zero is absolutely glorious. It's so awesome. Um, and also, I should mention they did keep the scene where he blows the room up by just like flexing his spiritual pressure or whatever. But the way it's animated is really cool. There's like these sparks around him, and then it just all explodes, like it detonates a large explosion, and that's what blows the roof off and stuff. Um, which is just so badass. Like Ichigo, he's the goat. He's so cool. I if I glaze him enough, he'll let me hit. No, I'm just kidding. Who said that? Uh, I love Ichigo to death. He's awesome. He's probably my one of my favorite fictional characters of all time.
Yeah,
Certainly.
I also really love Ichigo. Ichigo is probably one of my favorites. Possibly one of my favorite main characters in Shonen.
Yeah,
Period. I was
yeah. Like
also talking to someone IRL, and they asked me what's my favorite Bleach character, and I said Ichigo.
really,
And
really.
yeah, and
Yours is
people
also
find that
Ichigo?
he was also a Bleach fan.
Cool.
This person I was talking to. Uh, but he was like surprised when I said why Ichigo, and I was like,
Yeah,
well, yeah, maybe it'll be a basic answer, but like, what's wrong with saying that Ichigo is my favorite Bleach character? It's just I really love Bleach. I really love Ichigo because how well written he is, and people like to hate on
yeah,
Ichigo constantly. saying that he's the
Yeah.
worst MC of the big three, and
Yes. He's not.
nine
He
times out of
absolutely is
10,
not.
9 times out of 10, they never even read or watched Bleach. And when they
Yep.
say that,
Yeah.
they
Yeah. They're
just
largely
go
not.
whatever they just go whatever they heard from their favorite content creator.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I was talking to this guy on Discord. I just met the other day. This was like yesterday, I think it was. Yeah. And he's a Bleach fan in Bleach server. Uh, well, he's a fan of other stuff too, Spider-Man and Batman and Naruto, of course. And his favorite character from Naruto is Sasuke. Um, but yeah, I asked him for his Bleach top five, and Ichigo was not in it. Ichigo was actually I think he said he was six to seven, 6, 7, or 6 to 10, something like that. So yeah, he's not Ichigo isn't everyone's favorite character, but I'm surprised we share Ichigo's our favorite character. I would have thought it was someone else for you, but yeah, Ichigo, that's great.
Ichigo is a fantastic character. Second is probably Aizen, just because, well, Aizen is possibly
Yeah.
one of my favorite manga villains of all times. I
Yeah,
really love Aizen.
Aizen is just an absolutely immaculate aura farmer. I'm so excited. Hopefully we'll see him sometime soon. Hopefully in episode maybe episode 6-ish. It probably won't be 5. I think for episode 5 we're gonna get uh a lot more like fight extension between Ichigo and like Horn of Salvation Ichigo and Yuhabaha, of course. Which is really fun and exciting. In fact the last trailer they put out for the core basically told us as much. Uh but okay, I'm going to give you my predictions for what I think is going to happen next episode. Uh, so, uh, there were some things teased. At the start of the episode, Kenpachi kicks the lid off of his healing pod. And then he's like, "What the hell's going on? Where am I?" And then we get the opening, and then we cut to the lab. And in the lab, they're like, "Oh yeah," there's like a scene where uh there's like a crow. Yes, crow, crow, it's crow, crow guys, crow. Uh, Kagurabachi reference, of course. Crow. Samura, the goat. The crow. Also the movie The Crow. Anyways, I'm talking too much about crow. I also, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in one of the previous episodes of Peanuts Cafe, but crows are my favorite animal of all time. What about you, Amity?
My favorite animal is
Yeah.
I like cats.
Do you like cats? Okay, I do love
Yeah.
cats. I've had 2 cats, both of them now gone. Uh, one of them still alive, but taken from me, uh, by my sister who moved out, and I, I will never forgive her for that. Because I love that cat. Anyways, that aside, I do love cats, absolutely, but for I just love crows. Do you want to know why? 'Cause, like
Why?
I think I know why we like everyone loves cats for the same reason. They're cute, fluffy. We love to pet them. They're adorable. They're the best. They're meow, very cute, stuff like that, etc.,
And
etc.
they're great. And they're great for comforting too.
And yes, they're very immensely comforting. They're the best. So everyone loves cats for that reason. Everyone loves cats. But so why crows? Why are crows my favorite animal? Sorry, this is a tangent. Lol. I wait. I actually wrote down all my reasons. On a note. Let me see if I can find it.
Go
Uh,
ahead.
do, 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 do. Uh, was uh, uh, so, uh, do I know? Oh, fuck, where's- okay, wait. Okay, I need to search for it now. Pro. Okay, I didn't. Okay, I wrote it down. I think I wrote it down on my old phone, but the note didn't. the note didn't transfer to my new phone or something like that. So I think the reasons why I like crows, one, they're black, which is awesome. Two, they look badass. They're super cool. Three, they're insanely intelligent. An IQ too high? Yes. An IQ too high? Absolutely. Uh, Four, they're really creative. Five, the more you learn about them, the cooler they get. Six, of course, they're an animal that can fly. A lot of animals can fly, but crows do it best. High key for real, for real. We all didn't know this. That was a joke. Uh, seven, seven.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Seven. A group of crows is called a murder, which is fucking aura and badass. And y'all know how much I love me some aura. So group of crows is called a murder. That's awesome. Eight, I think is that they're winterized, so they hang out. You know, when in the winter in like the north, Jon Snow, King in the North. In the north, when like the winter comes, all the other birds fly south, namely the geese. But the crows do not. The crows they tough it out because they're winterized. They're like, fuck this shit. I'm sticking here. This is my turf. I'm holding down the fort. So that's really badass. Uh, Even though they stick out like a sore thumb in the snow because they're black and snow's white, they don't care. 'Cause they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about nothing. Which is badass. And then is that all the reasons? I think that's all the reasons. They also, oh yeah, well, okay. Another reason is that they have a lot of symbolism in like mythology and fiction. Um, Especially in fiction, like just crows are used. Itachi, of course, is the big crow guy. Uh, Ao, what's his name? Aoba, the guy who pioneered like the crow jutsu that Itachi may or may not have stolen from his sensei Aoba. I think that's his name. I think it's Aoba. I'm pretty sure I got that right. Itachi Aoba, of course, from Itachi Uchiha from Naruto. Um, and he really aura farms with that crow jutsu, which is badass. And then Samura, of course, the absolute uncontested GOAT. Everyone agrees he's the GOAT, not just the Kagurabachi, but just the GOAT of everything. Uh, the GOAT of the universe is Samura Seiichi, just the absolute GOAT. Okay, that might be a little bit too much glaze. Uh, but yeah, obviously Crow is awesome. And then he's very auriful with the when he has his crow wings and he can fly and stuff, and it's just so awesome. Uh, so yeah, crows are the best. And we see one here. Uh, Also their caw. When you hear their caw, you know death. When a crow caws, death is near. Whatever. Uh, they hang around graveyards, which is aura as well. Hanging around the dead casually like that, like aura. But yeah, so we see a crow. Okay, so back to the episode. The start of the episode after the opening, it's in the world of the living. We see a crow, and in its eye, like we get a close up of its eye, and in the eye is a reflection of the Serite, which is in the sky because of course the calamity is happening. So we see that and we see it through the crows, like the crows on the ground, but like we see it through the crow's eyes perspective, which is really badass. So then it takes us into the Serite, and in the Serite, we go into the lab, and we get to see some returning characters: Shino, Madarame, and Ryunosuke uh Yuki. And Ryunosuke, he's like I want to go to the because they discover that hollows are cropping up in the world of the living because the worlds are destabilizing. So Hueco Mundo is closer to the world of the living now. So hollows are coming and invading the world of the living, which is bad news. So Ryunosuke is like, well, that's originally my district, so I need to go there. It's it's that thing of like the Shinigami's duty is to protect the world of the living. So he's like, it's my duty. I need to go protect it. but then he starts kind of overthinking and he's like, oh wait, I don't know if I really should or whatever. And then Shino like pats him on the back and she's like, yeah, you're right, we should go. And he's like, oh, Shino, are you sure or whatever? And she's like, yeah, for as far as you'll go, I will slap your back as many times as I need to take you there, or whatever she says, something like that. She'll always slap his back to whip him into shape, which is cool. I love Shino. She's badass. Uh, we do love a strong female warrior. Yes, we do. Uh, they're awesome. They're the goats. And Shino is one of them. Up there with the best of them. And we love Shino. And yeah, okay, that might be enough place. Um, never enough place, honestly. Okay, and then so something really cool happens, which is like, okay, so Renosuke is all worried and stuff. He's like, I don't know, and Shino's like, come on, man, you got this. And then Okikiba, of all people, the second lieutenant of Squad One, shows up, and he strikes the bottom end of his scabbard or saya against the ground in what's that word in oh man, I'm blanking on that word. Hmm,
I don't know either.
solid, not solitude. Solid, solu. I'm blank on that word. You know that word when like someone silently uh is like, I'll come with you. I forget the word. I'm such an idiot.
I
Anyway,
well, I forgot the word too.
right there with me. Yeah. Service? No, it's not service. Whatever. Maybe it'll come to me later. Uh, so he does that to show that, yeah, he'll come with him. And there's like a whole bunch of Soul Reapers with him. Um, no, I really can't remember what the word is. Oh, fuck. Um, I'll comment. I'll comment later what the word was on the video. And I'll pin the comment. So they do that, and they're like, so yeah, and then we finally get back into Varvel. But that was a really cool scene. So that's all happening. And then we come back to it at the end of the episode. Yes, no, okay. I think actually at the beginning of the episode, we just see the crow looking at the Serite and maybe a brief glimpse of the lab. But then at the end of the episode is when the scene carries on, and we get that whole scene with like Ryunosuke and Shino and the Squad One. No, because it's like a mixed bag of different Shinigami from a bunch of different um squads because Maki's also there. Um, yeah, so but yeah, because obviously Karakura Town is Squad 13's part of Squad 13's district. Uh so yeah, that's all happening. And then yeah, the calamity's happening. Ichigo gets a good Grand Macero. Awesome, badass. We love to see it. It's so cool. Ichigo's the GOAT. Yada yada. I think that's it for that.
All
Right?
right.
Okay. So
We stalled for enough. Well, we're almost at 2 hours. Do
I
you want
know.
to just talk about your? You want to talk about a little bit about your rewrite?
Yes,
And we'll just and
yes, I
then
do.
we'll
Yeah, we'll do rewrite. There might not be any Kagurabachi
yeah. We
this
don't have.
episode.
I don't think we have much time. And like we mentioned before, there was no new chapter for Kagurabachi. Play the
Yeah,
sad music.
yeah, play this time. Besides, Kagurabachi came up a few times during the podcast. Anyways, it always gets a mention at least. So I
And last
rewrite.
episode so far, we got you got some.
Okay, yeah. So I got some criticisms in the server. which I wanted to address before getting into the. Oh, actually, before all of that, um, you mentioned binding vows, and I said I didn't have anything on binding vows. But I gave it a thought after the episode we recorded, and I since rewrote, or I didn't rewrite. I just okay. So what's the origins, or like what's the deal with binding vows? Well, they're essentially a glitch, in air quotes, uh, in Jujutsu sorcery, that was first discovered by the five noble families. And as for who enforces them, all that is known is that they go by quote unquote kami. So, yeah, that's a little bit more than we got in canon. But yeah, that's my explanation for binding vows, is that there's sort of like this glitch that was discovered in the early days of Jujutsu by the five families. By the way, I didn't realize this at the time of making my rewrite, but yes, I do realize now, five noble families, har har, very funny. Nice Bleach reference, lad. Yes. So, not it was not intentional, but it just kind of worked out that way. Did I say how five becomes three? So yeah, three of the families. Oh yeah. So the Fujiwara clan, uh, their last living descendant is of course Yuta Okotsu, which there's no changes for that since last time. Even though I know Space had criticisms, I think I ended up convincing him to join my side, in the comments there, on that topic. I think he ended up agreeing with me about that stuff. Because so yeah, Utah, he's like the last of the Fujiwara, and then oh, I did actually make a slight change to Sukuna. So
What's his change?
uh, oh yeah.
Uh,
So the where is it? Oh, and Ryomen Sukuna was the last surviving member of the fifth family. Oh yeah, I'll start from the top. Now, where do Fujiwara and Sugawara draw their lineages from? Well, Michizane Sugawara and Kamatari Fujiwara were heads of two of the five noble families, who first came to mainland Japan over 2,000 years ago. The Kamo clan are actually descendants of the third family, the Taira clan. The Zenin clan are descendants of the fourth family, the Murakuni clan. And Ryomen Sukuna was the last surviving member of the fifth family, the Minamoto clan. And so, because Ryomen is a title that means something akin to the strongest, and I realized that while writing it, or after the last episode, so I was like, I'll just make it the Minamoto clan. They're also a well-known clan in Japanese history, so I was like, well, I'll just make that be Sukuna's the family that he's originally from is the Minamoto clan. Um, and I believe in Japanese history, they also are a noble clan. So it all ties beautifully into the lore. So why doesn't he go by Minamoto? Did I actually write that down? Uh, Minamoto clan, though he doesn't go by that name, of course. No, I didn't say why. He just goes by Sukuna, and then the title of Ryomen was like bestowed upon it, and he uses that instead of Minamoto. Uh, I guess because the rest of his clan, as I said, he's the last surviving member of the clan. What happened to the rest of the clan? Who knows? Maybe he slaughtered them all. Maybe they were wiped out by the other clans, or maybe Uro and her squad wiped them out. Who knows? Um, such and such, whatever. Um, but yeah, what do you think of that little change? What do you think of that change and then my binding vow thing?
okay, so the binding vow thing, I really, really like.
Yeah?
Uh, I really do like the binding vow stuff. I really do like it. You've actually given it an actual explanation because binding vows definitely needed some more explanation. However, my opinion, the Fujiwara stuff kind of lost me a little bit, and I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
me. Wait, you mean the Minamoto?
Yeah.
Why, what, why?
Hold up. Hold up. I need to drink water.
Yeah. I'm good.
It kind of lost me a little bit because there was a lot of because I feel like there's a lot of stuff. You said like something about Sukuna right now, right?
Yeah, so Sukuna, I mentioned in the last episode that Sukuna was the last surviving member of the fifth family, but I didn't give a name to that fifth family. Here, I'm actually giving them a name, which is the Minamoto clan.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now it's making sense. Sorry, it was like a little bit
Yeah,
lost.
he, okay, I'm glad. Okay, yeah. There, I cleared it all up for you. So, yeah, and then the other thing I said about that was like the Minamoto clan, they're like a pretty well-known historical Japanese clan in real life as well. Uh, so I figured it made sense to put them here because I like to make real life.
All
I
right.
like making real life references in this in my rewrite here. So that's the Minamoto clan. Usuken is the last descendant, but he doesn't go by the name anymore. So who knows? Yeah. So that's all good.
That's all good now. That's everything should be all fine.
Okay. So some now I did want to before getting into the rest of the rewrite. Uh, I I need to address some criticisms. So, um, oh yeah, so Mangonomist mentions in a recent YouTube short he made that no, actually it was fairly old, I think. He mentioned that different eras probably have different frame rates for projection sorcery. Um, and I was excited by that, and I post that in the Discord, and then somebody uh replied to that with low key would probably weaken it if it gets much higher. I imagine the only way a user can sustain something like 60 frames per second or higher projection sorcery would be by giving up their body. Cursed energy, heavenly restriction style, and merging with a cursed corpse or something of the like with stupidly high processing speeds that allows you to use those 60 plus movements per second effectively. 24 is a lot more manageable than 60. So to all that I said, uh, oh no, to the first part, to low key would probably weaken it. Uh, I said no, it's definitely faster. And I bring it up later in the chain, but the amount by which it's faster, I actually did the calculation. And 60 is 2.5 times greater than 24. So 60 movements per second would be 2.5 times faster than 24 movements per second. So Naoya's version of the technique that I have in my rewrite here is just 2.5 times faster than Naobito's, just by nature of it being based on the 60 frames per second rather than 24. Just again, new age, new technique, yada yada. And then he said, I imagine the only way a user can sustain something like 60 frames per second is by giving up their body. And then I said, Naoya obviously has a body built to handle 60 movements per second. And then Brahma said, not a brain though. And then to that I said, brother, the human brain can tell the difference between 60 frames per second and 240 frames per second. That was based on a different video than the one I linked. The one I linked was is titled "The Human Eye Can See 3,000 or 39,620 hertz," and a hertz is a like a refresh. Or no, a hertz is uh, I think it's a wave function if I'm not mistaken, something like that. Whatever. Um, so, but in computers it's the refresh rate. But yeah, I saw a different video in the past on this guy was running like a test, like a kind of a scientific test because he has like a very high speed monitor. And it was to show that even a normal person, like he's a gamer, but I think it was with his brother who's a non-gamer. And the test was to show that even a non-gamer can tell the difference
Right,
between
right.
60 frames per second and 240 frames per second. And I'm sure, like, if I can tell the difference. I'm sure you can, Amity, if you have a good enough monitor that has a high frame rate. And I think even in that other video, he brought on his like mom, and she could also tell the difference. I might be mistaken on that, but most people can tell the difference. Your brain can process way more than 60 frames per second. So me making his technique based on 60 frames per second is by no means unreasonable. But Ramis said, brother, it's not about what the brain can perceive, it's about how far ahead the user can think every single second. When stacking projection sorcery, Naoya can only move linearly. He becomes incredibly predictable. At movements, it's just worse in that aspect, even if he's faster. And to the first part, it's not about what the brain can perceive. It's about how far ahead the user can think every single second. To that I said, yes, the human brain can do that too. You're really underestimating how much processing power the human brain has. Even if it didn't, and that was a subtle reference to like a Kurzgesagt video I saw recently, in which they describe how the process of walking, like when you walk down the street, your brain is doing all of these calculations and simulations in the background. And I should probably link that video too. Uh, I will link that video. But solidarity. That's what the word is. Solidarity. Oh, I finally.
Well, it
Oh
took you almost over an hour to figure that out.
no, only like 20 minutes. Because the
uh,
Bleach talk was the last thing before this time. Yeah, yeah. That was
uh,
no, it wasn't an hour. That was like 20 minutes. No, less than 20 minutes. It was like 10 minutes. Solidarity. That's the word. Oh, okay, yeah. So I'm so glad. Okay, so um the Kurzgesagt video. In it they I forgot what video. I'll find out which one it is and then I'll probably link it. But they explain how when you're just walking, when you're just doing something as simple a task as walking, your brain is processing so much information, and it's actually running simulations. It's processing the past and running simulations of the future, and that's how you're able to, if you see like a rock or something, or like a banana peel or whatever, you you don't even need to like consciously try to avoid it. You will unconsciously avoid it because your brain has run simulations, and the simulations that it runs in the background, you're not even conscious of it. It's just constantly doing this. It counts for that. So you're always like 2 or 3 seconds ahead, or even more than that. uh your brain essentially it lives in the future and then it processes the past, and then so then what your eye see is there's like a delay between what your eye see and what reaches your brain because like of the speed, all sorts of things. So all that to say, the human brain is a miracle machine. It's a supercomputer. It really is. uh But okay, so that all being said, even if it didn't, Naoya's brain would keep up with his technique. And I want to stress that's for my version. Okay. Uh even if your brain, even if the human brain, the normal human brain couldn't do, and it can do all that. I assure you, the human brain, if you gave a regular person uh the 60 frames per second, the projection sorcery, they could probably handle it. Uh But even if not, okay, Naoya's can. So
no.
and then
Sorry.
that's okay, that's okay. And then to the second thing that he said, which was when stacking projection sorcery, Naoya can only move linearly. He becomes incredibly predictable and movements. It's just worse in every aspect, even if he's faster. To that I said, in the I don't know if you remember in the anime, he moves in an arc. There's like a bird's eye perspective shot of the mountain range, and we see his trail, and he's moving in an arc. And this is while he's stacking projection sorcery, and he's like moving, he's blitzing around the fields. He goes through like a house, and he's moving in all sorts of directions and shit. So no, Brahms is just wrong. Like he doesn't need to only move linearly. We even see there's like a shot where like he's like in a circle around uh Maki and punching her from all kinds of directions. Non-linear, like just circling around her, kind of like after images, but like but it's more solid than after images because projection sorcery. So no, he's just flatly wrong. They know you can move in non-linear ways, like in the anime. It's like, uh, okay, just I just wanted to stress that. Okay, so and then I said, okay, even if I were to grant what you said, you mentioned that he can only move linearly while stacking. So my version of Naoya moves faster when unstacked. So the thing he's getting at is like, okay, so he needs to like uh to move linearly, he needs to or to get faster speeds, he needs to stack. And what I'm saying is he's faster without stacking. He's actually 2.5 times faster with just 1 second, like 60, 24 frames per second, 60 frames per second. In that 1 second, he's 2.5 times faster, unstacked. And so he doesn't have that limitation. Even if I were to grant that being a limitation of projection sorcery, which again it just clearly isn't. You don't move linearly with projection sorcery. I don't know why he said that. His brain must have shut off or something. So even if I were to grant that a limitation of regular projection sorcery, it wouldn't be a limitation of his because his is faster unstacked. But he can of course also stack it, so it would be a limitation if it theoretically if it were a real limitation, which it's not. Even if it were, if it would be if he chose to stack, but he doesn't need to in order to reach faster speeds than he normally would with the 24 frames per second. Okay, so I'm still not done. I'm sorry. So it's literally, then I said it's literally 2.5 times faster. And then, okay, so to the first part, I said, yes, the human brain can do that. You're really interested in how much processing power the human brain has. Even if it didn't, Nao's technique, Nao's would keep up with the technique. And to that, he said, even unstacked, he's just slower at making these moves. It's stated to be a predetermined path, something the user decides prior to the movements, and he's locked into the decision for more movements than 24. Whatever, okay. And then to the second part, he said, in order to use the sorcery, Naria has to both set a path of 60 consecutive and linking movements for every second. And again, the human brain can keep up with 60 frames per second. The human brain can keep up with 240 frames per second. The human brain can keep up with even more than that. The human brain, again, it's a miracle machine. It can keep up with this. But again, even if it couldn't, okay, whatever, we're just gonna move on. Even if it couldn't, but uh, consecutive and linking movements for every second that the ability is active, and has to execute them perfectly, or else he'd freeze frame. And that's just accounting for his movements, and not the shit his opponent does, like I don't know, hold their hand up and wait for his predictable movement. Okay, so to that I said, so to the first part, so even unstacked, yeah, he's just slower and making those moves. I said, and then there was a little bit more after that, but to that I said, no, it's faster. 60 is 2.5 times greater than 24. Naoya is making 2.5 times the movements in the same second it takes Naobito. Because remember, it's 24 frames per second for Naobito, 60 frames per second for Naoya. So in the same second, he moves 2.5 times the distance, which is which means it's 2.5 times faster. More movements per second equals more speed. So he's 2.5 times faster. And then, uh, to, I think it's the second part or something. I said, okay, well, my version works a little differently. I'm clearly going to, yeah. And then I mentioned that I would need to be making the updates that I'm making now. So thanks, Pathme. She didn't hold her hand up. Oh yeah. So then the final thing he said, which was that they can hold their hand up and wait for his predictable movement. And to that I said she didn't just hold her hand up. So Maki, of course, in like the final moments of the battle, she didn't just hold her hand up. It just appeared that way in slow motion, because of course it was a slow motion shot that made it look like she was holding her hand still, but she was actually making 24 movements or 60 movements in my second, or in my version, in that second. Okay, so to that he said, the overall movement is faster. The time it takes to calculate the movements made takes longer. So either it's far more linear and predictable movements done over a quicker period of time, or equally complex movements thought over a longer period of time. And then the second part, he said, Neo can't adjust mid-second. It's a predetermined path. If someone just holds their hands up after predicting, it's not about predicting the path. It's that you make you make the requisite amount of movements in the 1 second in accordance with the path. It's more complex than he's making it seem. Okay, if she just held her hand out still, she would freeze frame. But obviously she doesn't freeze frame. She's making 24 movements in that 1 second. But it looks still because it's slow motion. Ugh. Anyways, Naoya, back to what he said. Naoya can't adjust mid-second. It's a predetermined path. If someone just holds their hands up after predicting said path, I want to work. Naoya is defenseless to stop that. And it's far more risky to do that with a 60 consecutive movement chain than it is for 24 consecutive movement chain. Okay, I'm gonna take a sip of water.
Yeah,
Uh,
you're going on a full yap sesh here. Yeah,
yes, yeah, I am. It's true.
yeah,
But what he was saying,
and I'll let you
he
know
did.
when I'll let you know when it's time to head up. It's time to stop because mostly because I still need to get booze at the end of the episode. Like you said, again, you get a drink after we
Well,
finish this episode.
when does your local liquor store close down?
10 o'clock. So I got like
Okay. Well, we'll have time. We have plenty of time. Uh,
yeah, I'm planning on like ending this around like not real. We're already at the 2 hour mark, but I was planning on ending this like right around when we finish that 2 hour mark. When we get to like the 3 hour mark.
don't worry, we'll be fine. Okay, so
Yep.
his brain process is, I want to finish the Jujutsu Kaisen rewrite in this episode. If we don't finish it, that's fine. Uh,
Yeah, I wanted to make sure. I want to make this like I want to make the JJK rewrite stuff like an ongoing video, like multiple episode type thing, an ongoing thing.
well, again, I have multiple rewrites that will take multiple episodes, so don't worry. Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. Okay, so back to the criticisms and me addressing the criticism. So, to the first part, oh yeah, so I should probably restate what he said. The overall movement is faster. The time it takes to calculate the movements made takes longer. So either it's far more linear and predictable movements done over a quicker period of time, or equally complex movements thought over a longer period of time. So to that, I said his brain processes the movements 2.5 times quicker as well. And again, even if his brain wasn't adapted to the sorcery, your brain can do that. Your brain can just it can adapt to faster movements, uh, or faster frames per second and faster movements in general. Obviously, like when a race car driver, if you were to put like a regular person and like a race car driver in a fast moving car, like 300 miles per hour or whatever, the race car driver would be better able to handle it. In fact, we like, fighter jet pilots can pilot their jets at like Mach 2.5, Mach 5, whatever. I don't know what the fastest jet is, but like the human brain is capable, despite what it evolved to, which was just regular human running speed, 10 miles per hour, whatever. It can, we can go faster. We can go faster and we can keep up. Okay. But anyways, even if we couldn't, and like we can like maneuver and shit, like race car drivers are like madmen. Okay, they're really skilled and they can turn corners really fast and shit. Like they're really good. Okay, uh, so
Yeah, they are.
and that yeah, they're awesome. They're great. Like Magnet, what's his name? Max Verstappen, whatever. They're they're great. Okay, the human brain is capable of like miracles, essentially. Okay, but okay, so his brain processes the movements 2.5 times quicker as well. Okay. And then he said, Naoya can't adjust mid-second, blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay, well, this is a problem. Oh, yeah. So the second thing he said, I was like, okay, well, this is a problem with the original version of the technique. It's not omnipotent. It's going to have a weakness or two. Oh, yeah. And then to the first part of what he said, so I said his brain processes the movements 2.5 times quicker as well. And then to that, he said it doesn't, he makes those decisions prior to activating the technique. And this, I could tell he wasn't keeping up with the conversation. So I just said this simple reply was, bro, it's my version. If I say it does something, it does that thing. And he's like, my fault. Thought I was talking about something else, bruh. And then blah. Well, okay, I said bra, and then he said, I've had the comment before about advancing the technique in the JJK verse, like canonically changing with the times. And I said, yeah, that was the main purpose of it. Not gonna lie. I mean, it was a concept that pops up later with Yuji. I figured I'd implement it earlier. The thing with Yuji is like how his version of Shrine is like a more modern interpretation uh of Sukuna's version of Shrine before he before Majula in Shinjuku Shodown. It's the weird version that we see. So yeah, my version. So he clearly wasn't keeping up that I was talking about my version. My version, his brain can processes it processes the movements 2.5 times quicker, and that just broke his brain. And then I was like, no, I'm talking about my version. If I say it does something, it does that thing. And he's like, okay, so we're all good. Yes, okay. Now, Binding Vows, Sukuna stuff, Naoya projection sorcery. We got all of that cleared up and out of the way. Okay, so where
Um,
oh yeah, okay, so we left off at Yuji and Megumi going to do Kirara and Hikari. Um
yeah.
I don't yeah, the whole I'm a trans woman thing, she her pronouns. Looks like the fight's over. Blah. Yeah, I'm really glad I implemented that. That needed to be addressed. And then, okay, so we're all back to present. Okay, finally I can move on. Okay, so moving on to Sendai Colony. Yuta somehow has 30 points by the time he gets to Droop. So he walks up to Droop and demands, "Give me your points," or I can give me your points. I can kind of do. And Drew's like, why should I? And Yuta then draws his sword and he says, because the 30 points I have now, I got from slaying 6 sorcerers before I got here. Each one more fearsome than you.
That's actually a pretty
And
good
then,
Yuta impression.
oh, thank you. It's probably my best one. I can do it casually. So, and then Drew's like, you're bluffing. And then he's interrupted by Yuta slicing his arm off. And then Yuta says, is that enough to convince you? And then Drew says, Yow! And then he's like, fuck. Yes, I yield. Kogane. And then his Kogane pops up and he orders it to transfer all of his points to Yuta, who then cuts him in half diagonally, killing him instantly. This brings Yuta's total up to 126 points. So what do you think of that? I altered the interaction a little bit. What do you think?
I mean, we didn't really have that much of and we didn't have an interaction in the series.
Yes.
All we just had was just Yuta just cut Drew down.
Yes. Was so I figured that the idea is that Yuta's goal is to gain points, as many points as he can, right? And we don't see him interact with that notion in the actual story. So I was like, well, Drew has lots of points. So he just demands he gives him his points and then he cuts his arm to show that he's serious and then he gives him his points. Um, cool beans. Also, I'm going to rework the scene of how Yuta finishes off Kuro Urushi. So, well, let's just get into it. Okay, if the mouth were the most efficient way to output RCT, it would be used more frequently, right? It was also an extremely risky maneuver that could have easily backfired. For example, Kuro Urushi could have had toxins or more cockroaches, or Tengen-sama only knows what else is stored in his mouth. And when Yuta like went to do that thing to his mouth, he could have injected all that gross shit into his mouth, and like God only knows what would have happened from there. It was extremely risky. I know Jesus Sorcerer take risks, whatever. Um, Not Yuta. Yuta's different. He moves differently. So, also it was incredibly disgusting. It was so gross. So instead, Yuta grabs his head and he then walks in, and applies as much cursed energy to his arms as he can. This increases both output of his cursed energy, the thing stated to be required to actually kill cursed spirits, and his grip strength, um, and crushes Kurorushi's head. He then tosses the body aside, eliminating Kuro Urushi. Now he didn't get his points, but the difference is like Kuro Urushi's cursed spirit and more aggressive and stuff, and he was attacking civilians. Yuta just wanted to take care of him quickly. Um, Such and such. Yeah. Uh, I have a little bit more here, but what do you think of that?
Um, I like it.
Okay, you do. So
Yeah, I do.
when I brought this up in a different server, somebody had some things to say. I think it might have been Space. Uh, so we'll see if he has anything to say about that. We'll see. Type shit, type shit. Um, I'm glad you agree with me though. You're the best. Um, right. So he then eliminating Kuroruchi. He then applies reverse curse technique to his face to heal from the wounds caused by the acid from those two insects, restoring his eyes. Uro, who was watching in the background, saw that, so nothing changes there. She still whispers reverse curse technique in her sexy voice into his ear, and as she blasts him away. And then as he lands in that building, Kogane grants him the 5 points. Kogane was a little late on that one. I guess Kogane was distracted by something. I don't know. There's lots going on in the Culling games. There's lots to be distracted from. So that's when he grants him 5 points, which brings his total up to 129. Then 5 points from killing Kuro Urushi, which counts as a sorcerer. Um, the rest doesn't change for a little while, aside from some of the dialogue between Yuta and Uro. So Uro still explains why she's participating in the Culling games, but rather than ask if she had any friends, which didn't really fit the dialogue as it was, he Yuta instead asks, "What sorts of regrets did you have from your first life?" And then Uro says, "I did regret something, not killing you Fujiwara fuckheads." And then like it just resumes back to canon. So that was like the smallest little change, but like the fact that he didn't say that irked me. What do you think?
That one's
That one's
uh,
all good.
what?
That one's good.
That one's pretty good. Yeah.
All right. I think I might just start blasting through these. Um, if you if
Yeah.
if you have a comment, just uh just say, hey, wait 1 second or whatever. Um, yeah, I'm gonna start blasting through this.
Yeah.
Uh,
That'll work. That'll work. So we can that'll definitely work nice. Just so we can blast through these.
yes. So there's a statement that Ryu Ishigori boasts the highest cursed energy output of any Culling Games player. I'm not going to change that. But there is another statement that Kenjaku makes to Kashimo, that he boasts the highest cursed energy output in history. Yeah, to Kashimo. I am gonna change that to where instead he has the second highest output in history, second only to Ryomen Sukuna, of course. With the sole exception of Ryomen Sukuna, of course. I would add another statement, however, that Ryu Ishigori boasts the highest physical stats in the Culling games as well. Uh, Although this statement was made prior to Maki's Heavenly Pact being fully realized thanks to Rokujushi Miyo's training. So, okay. Yeah, so he has like the highest because Ryu is known for his physical stats, but there's never any statements made about it. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have Kenjaku comment that yes, he also has the highest physicals. So yeah, there you have it. More power scaling. I like to add power scaling stuff here and there. And that was what I added to that one. So, how does Rika actually work? So I've been talking about Yuta this whole time. What about Rika? So, she's Rika is a Shikigami that Yuta manifested sometime after the soul of Rika Orimoto passed on. After the curse was exorcised, her soul passed on. And then so sometime later, he manifested a new Rika, quote unquote Rika Shikigami, kind of like how Judge Man manifested for Higuruma. Again, it's more Higuruma used as the benchmark. Manifesting a Shikigami, excuse me, is part of the realization of some techniques. So why does she retain Rika's personality? Well, I guess you could say Yuta copied it. Copy, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, copied it. Yes. So basically, what this means is that everything about her personality, and sort of physical form, remains the same as it is in canon. Uh, Although she doesn't have, she, yeah, oh yeah, so she doesn't have limitless cursed energy. She has enough cursed energy to last, well, 5 minutes. Because of course, if she had unlimited cursed energy, why is there a 5 minute timer? It doesn't make any sense. So I guess she has like in those 5 minutes, she has basically as much as Sukuna or more, but it's not unlimited. It's enough to last 5 minutes at full power. And like, yeah. This version of Rika is technically new, meaning she needs to recopy some techniques. Oh, and of course, stock up on cursed tools. So Yuta spent a year in Africa, which is where I assume he got the majority of those cursed tools from. That he has, how we see like Rika, give me everything. Um,
Yeah.
he got most of those from Africa, I would assume, presumably. And I guess that's how it works in my rewrite. So uh, the main curse technique he wanted to recopy upon returning to Japan was cursed speech, but he needed a piece of Inumaki's body for that. So Inumaki offered up his left arm. Oh yeah, and Ten Shadows is oh yeah, so Ten Shadows is uncopyable, since it's an inherited trait. So much like how the Six Eyes cannot be copied, neither can the Ten Shadows. This also happens to prevent multiple Ten Shadows users. The idea of them being an inherited trait prevents them from being uh, multiple Ten Shadows users in an era at a single time as well. But
So this
the
makes it all
inability,
fair.
yeah, yes, it makes it fair, and yeah, so the inability for them to be copied also adds to their uh yeah, it also adds to that. Yes. Okay. So those are all the changes I made to Sendai. Not a lot, because Sendai I really loved, and I loved it even more in the anime. Um, I just
Sendai
had a
Colony was
few.
peak.
It was such an amazing season finale. It was great. Everyone loves Sendai. If you don't love Sendai, get out of the house. Afuera, afuera. Uh, yeah. So, okay, so back to, do you remember the whole thing with Nobara, and how she went to her hometown? Well, like during the beginnings of sort of or after they left, after the gang left Tengen's the room of the stars, Nobara went to her hometown. Later, she goes to meet with Maki before entering Sakurajima Colony. So she replaces Noritoshi Kamo uh, in that section, as I said earlier in the previous episode. So she also picked up a new weapon along the way. Uh, and this new weapon is a pole axe cursed tool. So Maki's like, "Where did you get that?" And Nobara's like, "My mom made it for me. She said it might come in handy." And Maki's like, "What does it do?" And Nobara says, "She said it'll, she says it has the cursed effect that it'll do more damage the stronger the target." And Maki's like, "Huh, I didn't know your mom could make cursed tools." And Nobara says, "Neither did I. Neither did she. She said one night something came over her and she got inspired and went to work on this thing. My dad had a workshop in our garage, not for making cursed tools specifically, but it got the job done." Maki, interesting. Can she make any more? Nobara, no. She said this took everything she had. Maki, wow. Do you still have Nobara? Yep, I still have Shorty. Maki, Shorty? Nobara, yeah, that's what I call my little hammer. Maki, and what about your big one? Nobara, it's called Le Beau Mec, which is French for the handsome guy. Maki, right. And this dialogue replaces some of the dialogue between Maki and Oritoshi. Uh, so, oh yeah. So what do you think? Do you like that? I am gonna ask you about this. What do you think of that interaction there?
You at least you gave it Nobara's classic character, made it classic Nobara during
Yeah,
that
I
interaction.
again I try to write the dialogue even if I can't do the voices. I try to write the dialogue in character as close as I can, because I do love the Jujutsu Kaisen characters, and I try to pay respect to that as best I can.
But
But what do you think
she
for?
but she's like taking Kamo's place
Yeah,
during the Culling Games fight.
yeah, yes,
I forgot you I did forget a little bit that you also decided to reveal her still being alive early.
yes. Well, yeah, because obviously the way it was done in the manga is stupid. Everyone hates it. Nobara should have come back earlier. It doesn't make sense for her not to. So yeah, I did reveal that. Yeah, and but what do you
Honestly,
think?
I honestly think this is better because she never Maki never really hanged out with honestly pairing off with in the manga pairing
Kamo?
Maki off with Kamo wasn't really didn't really make too much sense because they didn't really like talk to each other that much, did they?
Yeah, it was weird. Whereas like Nobara and Maki became fast friends and they like to hang out and stuff. So I was like, yeah, we'll do. Well, I guess Nobara more so hung out with like Megumi and Yuji, but whenever she can, she likes to hang out with Maki. And I was like, yeah, well, they make for a great pairing and, and stuff. Um, so yeah. Oh yeah, what do you think of the new curse tool and how it was made?
I like it.
Yeah. I was thinking, well, coming up with the idea of like, oh, maybe I should make it a Naginata because, Japan, thing Japan. Um, but I was like, you know what? Nah, it's gonna be a poleaxe, which is like a European style weapon. Uh, and I was like, because it's cool. Why? Because it's cooler. And I feel like that's the kind of answer that Nobara's mom would give to Kugisaki. She'd be like, why is it a Naginata? And then her mom would be like, because it's cooler. Type shit. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
know. Oh yeah, actually, the reason I so you might have noticed that I also happened to introduce Nobara's mom early, uh, and that's because she does come up way later in the manga. We see her interact with Nobara, and then also Nobara's mom's mom, her grandma, shows up as well. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna introduce them early. Well, Nobara's mom. Uh, so because I was like, why not? If they're, I like to introduce things early, I guess, whenever I can, and it makes sense to do so. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So, um, okay, where was that? Is that what it's called? Oh yeah. So what speed does the cursed spirit they fight reach in what would be chapter 193? Well, it's only Mach 3 in the manga, right? Well, in my
Yeah.
version, yeah, in my version, it's Mach 25. Still not fantastically fast, but it's not too bad. It's a bit of an upgrade for the speed scaling for the verse. Again, I like to do things sometimes that are just purely for the sake of power scaling. And this is one of those instances.
Yeah, for the
Because
power scaling stuff, I'm not really gonna be super too thrilled about.
that's fine. It won't come up a
I'm
whole
not
lot.
really, because I'm not really a power scaler. To be honest.
That's fair. Not everyone is. I am though. I guess you could say power scaler son. Um, yeah, I like to do things for power scaling. I like to do power scaling in general. But in my rewrites, I like to implement that stuff here and there, and that's one of those instances.
I'm just in for sweet, sweet lore.
Sweet, sweet, delicious lore. Yeah. Okay. So there was a scene later on that I found confusing. For some reason, Maki's soul split katana like leaps out of her hands and into the hand of Hagane Taido. Because it supposedly chooses its wielder, despite being a gift from Mai to Maki. It's essentially like an incarnation of like Mai's will itself and her, destroy everything and all that. And like, yeah, so the wielder was already chosen. So here's my idea. In my version, Maki kept the dragon bone, remember? Well,
Yep.
this is where yeah, yeah. Well, this is where she parts ways with it. For now. Maki, you can borrow this blade for the time being until we can find you a suitable replacement. Hagane, Katana! Maki, whatever. Let's just get the sumo thing underway. Yeah? Mio. But lady, you can't bring a weapon into the sumo ring. It's against the rules. Maki, look, I promise you not to use it, okay? She then sheaths it. And then Mio says, nope, sorry, them's the rules. And then he crosses his arms and smiles arrogantly. And the Maki's like, yeah, but isn't it against the rules for a female to participate in sumo to begin with? And then a look of complete shock overcomes Rokujushi's face. And then he's like, fine, come on. Like come
This
on
is
in.
this is kind of funny. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Have you ever seen? I know you haven't seen One Piece, but like the One Piece meme face where like their eyes start popping out of their skulls and like the drool
Yes,
or like the
yes, everyone's
yeah
seen that.
yeah. So he makes a face similar to that when she brings that rule up because that is I'm not sure you know that, but historically, even in modern day, females are not supposed to participate in sumo. It's against the rules. So her bringing that up is like, oh, gotcha there. Gotcha, bitch. Yeah, fun stuff, fun stuff. Sweet, sweet lore. Um, so then, yeah, she steps into the simple domain and completes the ritual. Thus, the barrier closes and they can begin. So then, back to canon. I suppose. So yeah. And then yeah. Uh, not only is time sped up 1,000 times in there. But gravity is also increased by 2 times, and air pressure is halved. In other words, it's an incredibly harsh environment, which is perfect for training. So, speaking of Maki, I have a lot of stuff on Maki. Uh, she was technically born with a small amount of cursed energy. So around as much as the average Japanese citizen. This is sort of implied in chapter 149 or season 3, episode 4. But again, I felt like making it explicit here. In other words, her heavenly pact was half-assed, as it were. So once Mai died, she fully awakened. And speaking of, uh, there's like this meme of like how Mai would have been moving if Maki died. Have you seen those memes?
Uh, I think I've seen a little bit of it. I haven't.
Yeah, yeah,
I
same.
actually have. I have seen them.
There's one video of that meme that keeps popping up in my recommended. I haven't watched it yet. I probably should have before doing the podcast, but I didn't realize it would come up here. But yeah, like reading that just made me realize that, oh yeah, there's like that meme that exists. Like, what if my Maki died? How would my been moving? Uh, that's funny to think about.
All right.
Ah, just taking a sip of water there. Um, half-assed, blah blah blah. So once Mai died, she fully awakened and unlocked her true potential. She had now become on par with Prime Toji. But does that mean she cannot get any stronger? No, of course not. She has much higher potential still. So what about after sumo training at the end of 196? Uh, she still has not reached her full potential. Speaking of, she has reached uh much more of it. She's fully realized. I think the way the quote goes in the manga is like a fighter on par with Toji Zenin has now been fully realized. So I would keep that, but she has higher potential. Did somebody say potential? Um, yes, somebody did say potential. So yeah, she has a higher potential because Maki is the goat. And she's kind of like she's Toji but better. Uh, so yeah, is that power scaling? Yes, it's kind of a little bit of power scaling in there. You know, but what about after so much failing, still not reach your full potential yet? Speaking of, I don't think I would necessarily change much about the fight in 197. So why doesn't
It
she
was
use her
actually a pretty
blade?
good fight. I'm not gonna lie.
It was really, oh, excuse me. It was really good. Um, oh yeah. So, but in that fight, she doesn't use her blades again for like the first half of it. And I was like, and it's again, she's not using her blades or her swords, her katana, while fighting Naoya. It's just like she's making the same mistake again. But so I was like, okay, so why didn't she do it? Well, in this case, it's because she was too in the moment, to being able to see what no one else can see, and too focused on battle too. Uh, but after Hagane slices it in half, she then remembers that, oh yeah, I have my own blade. I should probably use that type shit. But what emerges from the guts of that cursed spirit? Well, none other than Nobushiro Soga. So do you remember this guy?
That was an OC you created.
Yeah, it was an OC that I created who's the ancestor of Nobara. And I was like, I was racking my brain while first writing my rewrite. I was like, okay, when they slice it in half and Naoya comes up, I need something else to come up instead. So what would it be? Well, I revived Nobara early and I mentioned that she has like his ancestor. So it all just kind of came together. It was like uh the perfect conspiracy, I guess you could say, conspiracy of factors. Uh, so none other than Nobushiro Soga. So he instantly uses domain expansion, just like how Naoya did, but it has I gave it a name, domain expansion warrior's path to destruction and peace. It summons a grassy field and scatters anyone caught in the radius of the domain expansion around the grassy field randomly. The field is flanked by forests on both sides, filled with deadly monsters. To the north, a large rolling hill, and atop that hill appear to be many horseback warriors. And to the south, eventually you reach a cliff that leads to a drop from a deadly height. The grass of the field will continue to grow 1 inch every 5 minutes. That's 1 foot an hour. Uh, I ran the calculation. Um, the ground also gets softer and softer. If you stay in the same spot, you'll eventually like sink and suffocate. After about 6 hours, give or take, you'll be completely submerged. Give or take, as in like your height and whatnot. Uh, if you don't get shot by the archers atop the hill or eaten by the monsters in the forests, one of these is sure to happen. At least one of those sorcerers caught in the domain, usually. Luckily for them, since like sure hit effect, uh, like the arrows will always hit, the grass will continue to grow, the monsters will attack, etc., etc., etc. Luckily for them, however, they only need to endure for like 1 minute before Maki breaks in and stabs him.
That was an
Finding
also
the
interesting domain. That was a pretty good domain.
Yeah, yeah. I should have asked you. What do you think of my domain?
I literally, I literally gave you my comment as soon as you were there. I didn't mean to interrupt there, but I was gonna say pretty good domain.
Yeah, it's sort of inspired by sort of like places like are like places that are, like around the city that I live in, sort of like that, but also like grassy fields and like cliffs and shut and stuff like that, and like rolling hills. It's also kind of inspired by Legend of Zelda, like Breath of the Wild environments, and just kind of like romantic, and also sort of like African fields, stuff like that. There's all this confluence of different inspirations. It's kind of like a classically beautiful sort of environment. Uh, which is, I guess you could say, it contrasts, how disturbing and sort of ugly Naoya's domain expansion was. Oh yeah, and what do you think of the name? Because the name sort of reflects how
Can you say the name
one
again?
can die. Domain expansion, warrior's path to destruction and peace.
Oh, that's actually a pretty nice name. That's actually a pretty beautiful
Yeah.
name for a domain expansion.
Oh, thank you. Uh, yeah.
Okay.
Continuing
So
on.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
continue on, and then we'll finish up.
yeah. So she finds the correct one at the top of the hill. That was the true Nobushiro. And after a brief battle, she kills him. And then the domain shatters. And so from here, not much changes for quite a while. And by quite a while, I mean quite a while. So cut to Gojo in the airport. Yes, that whole scene still plays out.
So you're going straight to
Originally,
Shinjuku now?
straight to Shinjuku.
What about the military plot line? Because we were gonna ask about the whole military thing.
Um, I, I, I don't know. I mean, that whole thing, like, can I just like delete that? Is that all right?
You can delete it no matter what,
Because like
because
that didn't
that
go
was
anywhere, and I don't even know where that would go. Because like, okay, let's say I ran with that, right? Um, they like the military comes. Well, they don't have any jujutsu, so like they can't really make contributions. They would all just get slaughtered.
I'm only
Or if
mentioning
we,
it because people want to see. Because there's some people who say, "Oh, but what about the military plot line?"
Okay. So here's what happens, right? So the U.S. sends an what's that, like, B-2 bomber, I think, full of soldiers. Um I think that's what those are called. Wait, what are the B-2 bomber? Is that the right one that I'm thinking of? No. That's not the one I was thinking of. What what are those, like, military uh jumbo jet? I think they're actually just like modified, uh yeah, like Lockheed Martin, Boeing C-17. You know those big, like, military jets uh that have, like, massive occupancy, and they can lift like 800,000 pounds of
Yeah,
cargo. So they
yeah.
send one of those full of soldiers to the Japan, the Japan place there. Um so and it's full of soldiers, American soldiers, and they all descend down, and what happens? They all get slaughtered by the cursed spirits and the sorcerers. That's what happens.
All
Okay?
right,
And
all
okay,
right.
so what about the jet though? Um the jet kind of goes back home, and they report back that the Japanese are an enemy state or something like that. Type shit. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they got shot down, something like that. Okay, so I think that's all been cleared up. Yeah, that's what happens with the military subplot. Yada yada yada. So cut to Gojo in the airport. Yes, that whole scene still plays out. Originally, I wrote like an extended fight scene here where Gojo either avoided the world cutting slash or something, and then he fought against the true form for a little while, but then eventually I realized how stupid that idea was, so I scrapped it.
It
Uh,
kind of wouldn't make any sense, and it's just, and again, it's just
yeah,
the same. It's just the same thing that why people complained about like why they wanted Gojo to come back. It was just for hype and aura reasons, not story related reasons.
right, yeah, like who would ever do that? So Gojo is still alive. His brain is still functioning, and his heart is still beating, though he is fading. He's losing a lot of blood from his organs, or he's losing a lot of blood and organs and other important bodily stuff. He will die in the next few minutes if something isn't done. But this is Satoru Gojo we're talking about. So he's one tough motherfucker to put down, even when split in half. If you think about it, his brain would still need to be alive in canon, since he was hallucinating, seeing, and talking to his friends. A brain with some vital signs is needed to hallucinate, after all.
Yeah,
So yeah. So he is still alive. So this is where things start to diverge from canon once more. So my idea is that Arata Nita, with Yui Yui on his back, flies down, air quotes flies down, and simultaneously with Kashimo from opposite directions, of course. Actually, they use a parachute with propulsion attachments, while Kashimo does it raw. He just goes in raw, nothing, no equipment, and you're just going in raw. But they have some equipment. Kashimo engages in Sukuna, calling his name loudly to get him to face away from Gojo. Sukuna is aware of what he's doing, but he plays into it. As they get busy fighting, not changing their fight. I'm not going to change their fight. Nita-san applies his painkiller technique to both halves of Gojo. They prepared a body bag for him too, and then Yui Yui transports them to the medical team. The medical team is located in a hospital in a different part of Tokyo than Shinjuku. and Mei Mei rented the whole thing, including their entire staff for the day. Uh, this meant shelling out a lot of money. Money which she hopes to recuperate through live streaming the most important sorcerer event in Jujutsu history, which she already has, and we're only a third of the way done. Arguably a third? No, I just ran the calculations. It's two chapters shy of one third. And that's the beginning of Gojo
Interesting.
Sukuna to the end. Is I ran the calculations when I wrote that. It is two chapters shy of one third of the end of Jujutsu Kaisen. Which is, yeah, it's interesting to think because I think it's 15 chapters, so 15 plus 15 plus 15 is 45, but I think it was like 47 chapters. Anyways, that was kind of a bit of a tangent. Tangent. So speaking
All
of
right.
Yui Yui, yeah. So speaking of Yui Yui, why didn't Yuta copy Yui Yui's technique? Because it's difficult to control without his heavenly pact or binding vow. Which reminds me, what's the difference between Yui Yui's curse technique? Okay, why doesn't it have a name? It needs a name. Well, technically, it doesn't, as there are many curse techniques that don't have one in the series, and I'm not about to give all of them new names, but I'm gonna give this one a new name, and I'm calling it Tenza, which is just the Japanese word for translocation.
Not gonna lie, when I
So
hear the word Tenza, I think of the
Tensa
character from Hell's
Zangetsu.
Paradise. Yeah, I think of the character from
Oh,
Hell's Paradise.
yeah,
Ten.
I totally thought of the same thing and was not thinking of Tensa Zangetsu. Absolutely, yeah. Tenza from Hell. Yeah, that guy.
Uh, the one Shion's pupil.
That girl, not that guy. That girl. Yeah, her. I I'm not a LARPer.
That
Okay, I'm
well, that's new to guy. I'm talking about the one before new to guy.
yeah, him, yeah. So what's the difference between Tenza and Boogie Woogie? Well, Yui Yui. Oh, by the way, Boogie. I could get into Boogie Woogie. The name Boogie Woogie is actually pretty interesting if you didn't know. Uh, Remind me about that. We might get into that later. Well, so Yui Yui does not appear to be and isn't, in my version at least, limited by range. Theoretically, so he's not limited in range theoretically. Nor in the amount of people or objects he can translocate, unlike Toto, which is one at a time and it's anything in a specific range, and it has all these other limitations. But um, who can only do two at once and needs to clap to initiate it. Yui Yui also doesn't need to perform any sort of gesture or hand sign to initiate his version of the technique, or his technique, not his version. It's just his technique. And the targets of Tensna are also a lot broader than Boogie Woogie. And he doesn't need to swap things either. It's a spatial transference, perhaps another good name for the technique. The Japanese term for that would be Kukan Teki 10E. Uh, of course, it would end up using different furigana, I think the term is, or hiragana, whatever it is. And that would be the basis for the English name. I have no idea what that would be though. Uh, I guess it would just be spatial transference. But so for mine, I call it translocation, because I just like that term a little bit more. And so that allows him to essentially teleport or translocate targets to basically wherever he wants. So what's the catch? Well, he can only use it once per day. The reason for this trade-off is a heavenly pact. So because a technique that overpowered doesn't come for free. So he got all those upsides, but in return, he can only use it once every 24 hours. And yes, the technique counts one day as being 24 hours, uh, since since its last usage. Not not what it's not based on what the clock says. So this is to prevent him from using it once on 11:59 p.m. and then once again on 12 a.m. immediately after. or something like that. I guess the same could be for 11:59 a.m. and then 12 p.m. depending on the cycle he's on. But he can't do that because it doesn't follow the clock. It follows 24 hours since last usage. Um, Later on, just before Shinjuku. Oh, yeah. So what do you think? What do you think?
The technique.
Yeah, yeah.
I find it interesting.
So in the uh in the manga, he already uh only uses his technique once per day, but it's just because he's like he doesn't want to, I guess, outshine his sister Mei Mei or whatever.
Hmm.
Uh, Actually, the reason isn't really ever given. He just kind of doesn't use this technique despite it being so broken. So in my version, it's because he literally can't use it more than once per day. Because of the heavenly restriction, because there's like it's not limited in range and all this other stuff, or in carrying capacity to some degree. Um, so yes.
But we just made it to the 3 hour mark. Do you wanna go? Do you actually want to go through? Do you actually want to go through another? Still keep going for uh another few minutes or so, or do you want to just
Yeah,
wrap it up here?
I want to keep going.
All right, I'll give it a. Let's give it a few. Let's give it a around 10 or so minutes.
I might go past that.
All right,
Is that
then
okay? Yeah, I
that's
just want to keep
okay.
going. Yeah.
Let's go with
Um.
one. Let's try. Let's go with like one more, and then the next episode, we'll. I guess we'll. It's the ending, I guess.
Uh.
Oh,
Sure, whatever. I'm just gonna
is
keep
it?
going.
Is it the end? Is the next episode going to be about? Is after this episode? Is it going to be about the rewrite for the ending or modulo? I'm not sure if you're rewriting modulo or not. Are you?
Um. No, I haven't rewritten Modulo. After this rewrite ends, I'm gonna start on my next rewrite, which will either be Demon Slayer probably because it's the shortest. Although I might do My Hero Academia one, since I think I've teased it a couple times. Although I could do Demon Slayer and then start on again, my Demon Slayer rewrite is pretty short. Uh, so probably that one. Uh, yeah, but I just want to continue on here.
All right.
Until if you want to save the ending until next, yeah, we can actually do that. That does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So I'll just go until you'll know where I have a good place to stop. And then we'll do the rest. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't worry, it'll be good. It'll be good. Okay, so
Yeah. We're all just
later,
chilling.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So later on, just before Shinjuku Showdown, he used a binding vow that allows him to use his technique multiple times per day. The cost is that now he can only translocate between marked points. So he needs to have marked an area before he can translocate to it, which is why he couldn't just teleport to the battleground. So marking requires him to touch his palm look to the location for at least 1 second, depending on the surface. Oh, and movable objects such as pencils or knives or even cinder blocks do not count as viable options to be marked. This is because they might be confused as the targets rather than the location. Thus, he cannot mark people either, which is why he couldn't just mark Gojo and teleport directly to him. They need to sort of fly down. And he couldn't mark the location either because that was the battleground. I guess they could have, but they didn't know where in Shinjuku he would end up, so they had no way of knowing that he would die or come close to death in that exact spot. So yeah. Um, I guess they could have marked or whatever. That would have taken no, they couldn't have done that. No. Anyways, Dusty cannot mark people either. Oh, and there's now a weight limit to how much he can Weight limit now, 2, which is double what he can physically carry. So let's say Yui can carry 60 pounds in each arm. That would mean the weight limit to the technique would be 120 pounds per arm, or a total of 240 pounds. Now, we technically don't know how much Gojo and Nita weigh. Let's just say their total just let's just say their total just at the limit. I phrased that so poorly. I wrote that so badly. Let's just say that their total weight is just at the limit of what he can carry. So 240 pounds in total. So the medical team include, I guess we can ask what you think of that, but you sort of want to wrap up, so whatever. The medical team includes Shoko Yeri, Amai, who's, I believe Amai is the sugar guy, the guy that has the sugar technique, and Shoko Yeri, of course, is the healer. And as I said, the entire staff of that hospital, plus 29 of the most highly trained and sophisticated doctors, surgeons, and anesthesiologists from across Japan, as well as Noritoshi Kamo to provide blood support. So he does get something to do. So yay, Noritoshi Kamo, I guess. They all were tired. What'd you say?
I said hooray for Noritoshi Kamo.
I guess, bro. Like he got cucked by Kenjaku out of becoming the clan head, and he got cucked out of participating in Sakurajima Colony by me. So I figured there's something he could do, which was help heal Gojo.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
something. To provide blood support. They all worked tirelessly on him, pouring as much blood, reverse curse technique, medicines, skin grafts, and surgical procedures in him as they possibly can. They also use extra special high voltage defibrillators, and they need high voltage ones because his body is built so, well, tanky. He's built like a tank because, he's Satoru Gojo. So it takes a lot of electricity to penetrate through his skin, or to penetrate through him and actually work to defibrillate. So it, that being said, it all takes a while. And originally, I had a section in here about how he gives up an eye, but I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. It was kind of stupid. I'm not going to lie. And it was like the idea was like he was going to give up an eye and like somehow across space give it to Nobara, and then she would have one of his 6 eyes. But I just thought it was stupid, so I'm not going to add that. He has both of his 6 eyes now, still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna, yeah, that I thought it was just stupid. Anyways, I'm going to be leaving the rest of Shinjuku untouched for a little while. Although I will make a slight change to Yuta versus Kenjaku. And that's that Toto isn't there. Yuta just genuinely improved so much over the last month from training, that he became a blitz tier faster than Kenjaku. Again, that's a little bit more for power scaling. Whatever. Um, yeah. So he became able to steer faster than Kajabi. So until and then so we're getting to 251 when Sukuna releases his second set of hands that were weaving the hand sign for Hollow Wicker Basket in order to launch a World Cutting Slash. This doesn't make any sense to me because he was doing just fine. Literally, all he needed to do was increase the output of his dismantles by chanting the name of the attack, enchanting from his second mouth, that is. Oh, no. Chanting the name of the attack from his top mouth, and then doing enchantments, or like, what are they called? The thing that Utahime does. From his second mouth, not the dancing, but not the sing. I think it is enchanting. From his second mouth, and then specifying the trajectory with his hand. So each one of those on their own increases the output by, oh wait, how much was it again? Oh right, it isn't clarified in the manga, so I'll go ahead and clarify that all here. So naming. when you say the name of an attack before or during its launch, you increase its output by 20%. Chanting. Oh, so like enchantments, when you incorporate the attack's chance. Oh yeah, chance. That's what it like when you chant like the thing that Gojo does for his hollow purple. Those are chants. Yeah, so when you chant in with the launch, you increase output by 30%. And then so for Sukuna, he also has trajectory specification. When Sukuna specifies the trajectory of this mantle, or either with the open palm, swiping the air, or pointing his two fingers at his pointing at his target with the two fingers. I guess that counts as an open palm. It's like semi-closed, whatever. Um, that increases output by 40%. And then hand signs, when hand signs are used for dismantle, output is increased by 50%. So this one increases output the most, but the others compensate. So 20 plus 30 is 50, plus 40 is 90%. So, and then 50% on top of that would get into 140%. But his is only increased by 90%, which would, if you were to calculate it, it would be 1.9 times regular dismantle. Because it's supposed to be an increase. If you just do 90% on its own, that would be 0.9. It would technically go under it, but it's, I guess you could say it's 190%. Whatever. 1.9 times. So he didn't need to release his hands. Now, in my version, I would like to change it so that he didn't. But that would require so much writing. And so maybe one day I will like actually fully write that. Because that moment really is the beginning of the end for Sukuna. That's when it all starts to go to shit for him. But for right now, I don't really have the writing chops to be able to do that. Maybe they would find a way to like pry his arms apart some other way. I don't know. It was like a tactical mistake that I always found stupid. And again, as I said, it was the beginning of the end for Sukuna, but I just I have no way. I don't know how to change it so that he doesn't make that tactical mistake and yet still somehow lose. He does still need to lose. Maybe he just wins. Maybe that's the timeline where Sukuna wins. Um, it's possible. But
Yeah, it is.
yeah, because he could have. I guess he could have killed. Well, he could have killed Yuta and Yuji there. Um,
Yep.
so yeah. Later, Maki would end up eating Sukuna's first Black Flash. In the manga, it appears Maki tries to use her arm to block it. In my version, she uses one of her katana or both. Well, does she get? Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's his name? The samurai Daido. Daido gives her back the dragon bone after Sakurajima colony. So she has both her katana now. And so she uses them to block his Black Flash partially, but or at least she tries. Um, but Sukuna uses his lower arms to pry her arms apart and fully nail her with a direct Black Flash. Uh, without her, she can't block it because he pried her arms apart so that he could land it directly. Um, so she still comes back later in the same amount of time. In other words, it's a durability upscale. Again, more power scaling stuff. Sorry. But I do include power scaling stuff. So it's just like raw durability upscale for Maki because Maki's the goat.
Yeah,
So
Maki
by
is the
the
goat. I love Maki.
yeah, is she your favorite female character?
She is definitely one of my favorite female characters in fiction.
Is she your favorite female character in Jujutsu Kaisen?
Oh yeah, definitely she is. She is.
Yeah, that's valid. So I'm guessing for you it would be Maki. Miwa, and then Nobara.
So my favorite female characters, my top three are, so number one's Maki. Number
Okay.
two, I have, damn it. Damn, I keep forgetting her name. I forgot her name for some reason. Sorry, I'm having a brain fart here.
Is it Utahime?
Not Udahime. Is it?
Yuki? Is it Yuki?
No, not Yuki. Uh,
Yorozu?
dude, no, I hate Yorozu. Fuck Yorozu.
Oh, who is it?
Oh,
What do they do?
forgot her. I forgot her name. She was uh, she was a past friend of Gojo in Gato.
Oh, Shoko
Yeah,
Yuri.
Shoko. Sorry, I forgot her name. I had a bit of a brain fart. So yeah, Maki. Then I have Shoko, and then after Shoko, I have Miwa because Miwa's the goat.
Okay, okay.
I
For
do like
me,
Nobara. I do like
yeah,
Nobara as a character, but she's not like top three in my opinion.
that is valid. And then what about Mei Mei?
Oh, I don't like Meme.
No, that's valid. Yeah. That's valid. Where was I? Blah 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 blah. Okay, so Maki and everyone. By the way, Maki and everyone else caught. Oh yeah, so domain expansion. So Sukuna uses domain expansion in chapter 258, and uh, Maki does, along with everyone else, is caught up and it survived the 99 seconds. Now, because I've completely written Miwa out of the story, from this section at least. Um, she's not dead, of course. She's just like somewhere else, watching the live stream. Uh, she can't be protected from the domain expansion with simple domain. So either Kusakabe comes down with her, or she just tanks it raw. Now this is my version, so I okay. There is a third option where she figures out how to use the cursed energy in her cursed tools to create a simple domain of her own. Uh, much like how Tsumiki, is that his name? No, Tsurugi. Much like how Tsurugi does in Mojulo. But in my version, she just tanks it raw because Maki upscale for the win. Now, since her tools have cursed energy, but she herself does not, they become the target of Boogie Woogie instead of herself. Um, so so Boogie Woogie can't target her for the to get her out of the way of the furnace. So what does she do? Uh, this is where I mean, again, maybe she just tanks it raw, but I feel like at this point it would be a little unreasonable. So I guess at this point Kusakabe comes in and like helps protect her. Or again, she uses simple domain from her Pierce tools. One of the two. Possibly both. I guess they could use simple domain together. No, that wouldn't work. Kusakabe just uses simple domain to help protect her and himself. Um, and then yeah. So she doesn't die from that. But like, of course, some of the heat and like blast, like the shock waves still end up getting them. But they're just protected from most of it. From Kusakabe's simple domain. So then Gojo's return. Is to hit. His goal is to hit Sukuna with a domain expansion to create an opening for the others. Now, his recovery wasn't fully complete by the time he wakes up and leaves the hospital and teleports to the battlefield. And his cursed energy pool was not fully restored yet either. Plus, he depleted further by using reverse curse technique to patch any holes, and also to teleport to the battlefield. Um, so he lasts just about as long as Six Eyes Yuta did, maybe slightly longer, probably slightly longer. Oh yeah, I'm not doing the Yuta brain swap thing with Gojo, because I think that whole thing was just stupid and disrespectful and nothing.
Understandable.
Yeah,
Understandable. I don't think anybody would complain if you changed that.
you'd you'd be surprised. Uh, you'd be surprised. There is a specific person I can think of that might take umbrage with me deleting that whole thing of Yuta quote unquote becoming Gojo. Uh, I can think of one person in particular, but yeah, in my version, he does it because that's like it's one of the most disrespectful acts you can do is like cut up your sensei's skull and take his brain. Ah, it's just disgusting. Instead, he just remains out of commission for the rest of the fight as he recovers from his injuries, um, thanks to the medical team. So I originally had a lot of other stuff here for the rewrite, but meh. I don't like what I wrote there anymore. I might talk about that other stuff. Some of the things I left out here, I might talk about in a future installment. Maybe. Um. But yeah. Um. Oh yeah. Oh, so then for the ending, for which I have developed some more changes. So here's how I personally see um the um the epilogue going. So after the defeat of Sukuna in what would be chapter 268, in my version, or in canon, Megumi asks Yuji if the Culling Games are over, to which Yuji says, I'm not sure, let's ask Kogane. And Kogane appears and explains the rules and conditions of the Culling Game. And so uh, Megumi and Yuji reason that Megumi has become the new game master and can add or change pre-existing rules. Megami, Kogane, change rule 13 so that the game ends upon Ryomen Sukuna's death. Kogane, not allowed. That is prohibited. Megami, Yuji. Were there any other conditions set in place by the previous game masters? Kogane hesitates, but eventually relents. The destruction of Tengen's purification barriers would also cause the cessation of the Culling Games. However, the Game Master automatically entered a binding vow, which stipulated that if the barriers were to be destroyed, the Game Master the Game Master's lid would also come to an end. Megami. Very well. It can't be helped. Yuji, Yuji. Save it. We'll figure something out. Kogane, relay this information to all surviving players. Kogane. Okay. Shortly thereafter, they contact Hiromi Higuruma. Higuruma said, okay, so Higuruma. The rules of the Culling Games remind me of the legal code of Japan and other countries as well, meaning there's a loophole we can exploit. Gojo. What sort of exploit? Higuruma. Right. Well, we'll have Megumi enter into a new binding vow, which stipulates that once the culling game ends, all the people of Japan will also die. Yuji. What? But that's nuts! Higuruma. Exactly. The culling games were designed to go on for as long as possible. Eliminating everyone in the country would also mean it could not continue. Megami. But that's the whole point of ending the culling games. Higuruma. True, but we'd be ending it on our terms, not the games. This won't be enough, however. I'm sure the game system has accounted for this in some way. To create a further loophole, we'll have Megami enter into a binding vow with the nation of Japan itself. Of course, in order for the binding vow to maintain, you would need to remain alive. So we'll have you enter into yet another binding vow, this time connecting your life with that of Yuji's. So long as Yuji remains alive, so will you and the rest of the people of Japan. And for Yuji, we'll keep him alive by connecting his life to that of an outside nation through another binding vow, or something like that. All of these binding vows should overwhelm the game system, and with any luck, we'll shut down the culling games without killing a single person. Or everyone dies. It's any luck, or it, it's a coin toss. Oh yeah. With any luck, we'll shut down the culling games without killing a single person, or everyone dies. It's a coin toss, really. In order to prevent the worst outcome, I will enter into a binding vow that will activate my deadly sentencing technique, should all the people of Japan die. And the defendant will be the culling game system itself. Yuji, why don't we just use that binding vow along with Megami's second binding vow? Higuruma, that should work. I was thinking too much like a prosecutor. But Yuji, you think like a defense lawyer. Yuji, thank you? Jojo, that was a compliment. Yuji, oh, okay. Then thank you so much, Higuruma, sir. So they do it. Megami and Higuruma enter into the binding vows. A Kogane spawns in without anyone having summoned it. Um, New glitches have been detected in the common game system of, oh my God, new glitches. Sorry, new glitches have been detected in the game system of the Culling games. As a result, the Culling games will now be shutting down in T minus 60 seconds. 59, 58, 57, 56. Yuji. Oh shit, it's really happening. Higuruma. I know. I honestly wasn't expecting it to work so quickly. Kogane. 43, 42, 41, 40. Gojo. Man, the anticipation is killing me. Yuji. Sensei, don't joke like that. Gojo. You're right, you're right. I'm lucky to be alive. Kogane. 27, 26, 25, 24. Megami. It just sucks, knowing that I couldn't properly say goodbye to Sumiki before she passed away. Yuji then pats him on the back. Hey man, at least you still have us. And there are others too, don't forget. Megami smiles. That's true. I really am blessed. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Kogane, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. They all close their eyes in anticipation. 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. Poof. And with that, it finally ends. Now all the players who survived are still around, and the cycle of Jujutsu has not been destroyed, but those are problems for the future, I suppose. So what do you think? That's how I would end the calling games, or that's how I would bring them to an end. What do you think?
That's a pretty good ending to the Culling games because even then the Culling games didn't really end that much. We just got to Shinjuku, so I think that's a good way to end the Culling games.
Yeah, uh, it's a bit more of an epilogue. Uh, I figured something like that was probably necessary.
Yeah,
So, and like I knew I had the writing chops, or at least write a a better. If you think you can do it better, why don't you write the ending? Well, folks, I did. I do think I can write it better than Gege Akutame, so I did. If you disagree, let me know in the comments below. Um, because of course the Cully games, the way he ended it in the manga, I don't think anyone likes how it ended.
it was
Um,
rushed.
yeah, it was rushed. They never actually the Cullen games. I think as far as I know, they're still going. Um, they kept going until Majula when what's his face Maru did the thing at the end of Majulo with the Sumiki and uh his sister, whose name I'm blanking
You mean
on, and his
Suragi?
brother Tsurugi.
You
Oh
mean
my God,
Tsurugi? You mean Tsurugi
Tsurugi
and Yuka?
Yuka. You're right.
Oh my
I'm
god!
all
And and Maru's brother is named Cross.
Cross. Oh my God, Cross. Okay, so yeah,
Larper,
right.
Larper.
LARP alert, bro. LARP alert. Okay, yeah. So Cross, Maru, Tsurugi, and you. Uh, I think that's when the calling games. I think when they finally end. Um, which is of course stupid. Nobody likes it. It's both rushed and way too prolonged, and it like never happens until it finally eventually happens, but it's way too late. So I was like, I think I can solve the calling games riddle. So that was the solution I came up with. Yes, it involves binding vows. Everyone hates binding vows. But if you remember at the start of this, I mentioned that binding vows were discovered by the five noble families as a glitch, and I figured they could be used to form a glitch in the game system of the calling games, and so that's how. And then and that would sort of end the calling games with like the overriding it with the finding vows and the stuff and the things. Um. So yeah, that's cool beans. Um. I should have added more lore. Um. What do you think of? Okay, I did add quite a bit of lore. I know you wanted. I think you wanted probably more big, fat, juicy lore drops. But I gave more than certainly than Gege. But what do you think overall? What are your thoughts?
I don't
Well,
think
okay,
I don't. I actually kind of like what I heard so far. I actually do kind of like it. Uh,
yeah,
it wasn't even though it kind of wasn't too much. I did like what I heard so far. So yeah,
yeah,
that's my 2 cents.
okay,
Um,
okay. There is more to come in the next episode. It's still not over. I left one last surprise. Um, and I'm quite excited to get into that. I figured this was the perfect place to end though, because this is like where sort of Jujutsu Kaisen originally ended, so that's where I'm gonna end this part of the rewrite. So it is gonna be a three-parter. I didn't expect it to be a three-parter, but hey, whatever. Um, it is what it is. Next episode, I'll finish the rest of what I have in store, and then probably move on to, as I said, Demon Slayer. Because again, it's pretty quick, and then maybe some other stuff. We'll see.
all right. Other than that, I think we're probably gonna end it here. We've been here for pretty much almost 3 hours and a half.
Almost three
Um,
and a half hours.
yeah, almost pretty much close to 3 hours. Um,
Oh
we're
yeah.
just gonna
Okay. Yeah. The
yeah,
recording
we're
will
just
be.
so yeah, we're just gonna end this episode here.
Yep.
But next episode we will finish talking about the rewrite, and there is a new Kagurabachi chapter coming out next week, so of course we're gonna be talking about that as well.
Mm-hmm. Very exciting.
Um,
And a
other than
new
that,
episode.
other than that, yeah, uh,
Amity, remember to get caught up on Bleach so I can talk about the next episode guilt free. Uh,
yep. um, get caught up on everything. I need to get caught up on everything.
mainly Bleach.
Same as you. Same with
And
you. You need to get caught
I'm,
up in anything because you still haven't read the manga for Hell's Paradise, and you said you wanted to talk about Hell's Paradise a lot on this podcast.
yeah. I know.
You're such a
Uh,
larper. You're such a larper. You're
Yeah.
such a larp.
Next episode. Oh yeah, shit. Okay, wait. Next episode. Well, I watched a lot of MCU movies. I wanted to talk about them, but okay, whatever. I can talk about that next episode, I guess. Although I want to talk about other things next episode. Don't forget to buy lots of booze.
All
I hope you
right.
drink well and drink your brains out. Um, and I'll see you next time.
All right. Yeah, this is Hinao's Cafe signing off. Bit of a crazy episode. We had a bit of a crazy episode, and next episode we promised everything will go back to normal.
Ye- yeah. Well, oh yeah. By normally being Kagurabachi. Yeah. Next episode we'll have some Kagurabachi stuff.
All right.
More Kagurabachi stuff. But yeah. Stay tuned and signing out, I guess.
Yep. Have a good day, everybody.